Hello, everybody, and welcome to Silent Podcast, the place where everything but silent. I'm your host, Isaiah, and I'm here today to host a very well anticipated stream that I've wanted to do since I started this channel, which is the Big Brother Ultimate Ranking stream, where we're going to rank all 22 seasons. And I'm here with some amazing people. I'm here with one, and I'm here with one. The basically the person who's in charge of like Big Brother related things over here at Silent Podcast. Sarah, how are you doing today?
I am doing wonderful. I'm excited to get into it.
All right. We also have one of our guest hosts, Lavina, another fellow podcaster, and she does all this other cool stuff. Lavina, how are you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. I haven't podcasted in a while. Like I was telling Isaiah, it was weird. I got a StreamYard link. I haven't clicked on a StreamYard link in a hot minute, so this is super fun.
All right. And then we also got another special guest, Derek Walsh, playing Penthouse and all this other fun stuff. Derek, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Happy to be here. Yes.
Okay. And if it hasn't been blatantly clear, we all watch Big Brother. We all know what we're talking about. So there's no real criteria for these lists or anything, but basically I let everyone rank all 22 seasons based off of their own personal thoughts. I can say me personally, I just heavily based it off of the outcome, the entertainment value, strategy and all that other fun stuff. Sarah, what did you base your rankings off of?
Yeah, I think it just depended. I think some of these I just have straight sentimental value, which is not a great ranking criteria. But other things I had to take into account was the drama of the season, how well it carried across the season, because some of these seasons had fiery beginnings, then just kind of fizzled out at the end. I think just like overall cohesiveness, a satisfactory winner, that's important to me as well. I think those are the main things I did it off of. And at the end, I think sometimes there's a lot of seasons I just went with my favorites of the three.
All right, how about you, Lavina?
Yeah, I think I'm pretty similar, but a big thing for me is like legacy. But definitely like Sarah, like it's kind of like a nostalgia factor as well. Like I'm not going to spoil anything, but there's probably one ranking that I did that's like radical or like out of this world, and it's very much like a nostalgia based decision. I'll explain when I get to it, but you'll see it. So yeah.
And then how about you, Derek?
For me, my rankings were based off of a lot of things. Some of this are just like personality, the cast, how they meshed well together. The winner is a good big thing, but again, there's one of my picks that is one of those seasons that I put very high up on the list. Is very dear to me, so I had to put it where I put it, and I don't feel bad about it.
As you shouldn't.
Now, for anyone watching this at a later time, nobody here knows what the actual outcome is. I'm like the only one. Basically, everyone ranked them from 1 to 22. 1 meaning you get 22 points, and then 22 meaning you only get like 1. And then basically, I took them from all 4 lists and calculated the points up to have an overall order. I will say there's like 2 ties in this, but we'll get to them when we get to them. I guess we can just get there. Is everybody ready?
Let's get it.
Yeah.
All right. So, speaking of ties, the very first one is actually a tie. And it's for what comes in last place, which I didn't expect, but it happened. Lavina, can you take a guess at least which one of the two are for the tie?
I feel like it's my fault, and this is what I was talking about. That was kind of radical because okay, here's what. Before I say it, here's what. I think a lot of people, they just automatically rank Big Brother 1 as last because they're like, well, it's not real. It's not real Big Brother. It doesn't really count. I did not rank it last because of the nostalgia factor. So I think it's between 1 and 9. You can tell me.
Well, you got one of them right. One is in the tie. And tied with it is actually the most recent season of Big Brother, Big Brother 22.
Okay.
Derek, you seem pretty happy about that. So what's your thoughts on that?
I put it right where it should be, at the very bottom of the list. It wasn't a good season. I'm not going to give it credit it doesn't deserve at all. Cody, props to the winner, yes, because he did play a great game, but It's where it deserves. It should be in that tie. I did not, Lavina. I also did not put obviously one in the very bottom. One for me was actually it wasn't high, but it wasn't on the bottom either. There's seasons under it, but yes, 22. It's where it should be.
Sarah, do you agree with this? Because let me see. Let me just see where everyone ranked it. So I put 20. I put 22 at number 20. I put it at 20. Number 22 at 20. Derek put 22, as you said, last. Sarah, you put 22 at 19, and Lavina, you put it at 20. So it seems like out of everyone, Sarah, you're the highest on it. I mean, it's only 4 spots up, but like, do you have any defense for it not being the last?
Wow. Well, yeah, it's like, how can you have a season with Devon and put it last?
Oh, well,
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a different
I don't know.
perspective.
There's characters. There was like just some nostalgia in some of these characters, like people coming back. Like Big Brother 14 was the first season I ever watched live, and I fell in love with Ian Terry. And so to have Ian Terry go back was just so special to me. And I know the season had so many flaws and was so disappointing. So I wonder if it was a cast, let's say this BB22 happened, but instead it was a cast of newbies in our head and we didn't have that expectation of it to be so great, would it be last? Because I don't think it would be.
It's different, yeah.
You know what? I'm with you with that whole Devon thing and like Bailey. And there's like actually a couple of redeeming factors in there. So I personally didn't put it last. I did put Big Brother 1 last. But I see Derek's side of it as well, because I remember watching it last year. I don't know. It was just such a stale place. And when you got towards the end where there wasn't really much content for them to even talk about, and they were just like showing segments of like their little cartoon characters fighting, or like we didn't even get half of like the drama when it came to stuff like Wall yelling. Like there was like a whole bunch of stuff that actually happened that Devon actually spoke about on her YouTube channel that we didn't even get to see. So I think that alone also kind of takes away from the season. But I will say I do think it's like I'm willing to put it like over a 1. That's just me. Just to see where everyone else put 1, in case anyone wants to defend it. Lavina, you had 1 at 21. Sarah, you had 1 last. I had it at last, and Derek had it at 17. So, Derek, do you want to defend?
Listen. I said when I started these rankings, I knew where my bottom 4 was, and I knew what my top 2 was. Like that's 100%. I don't know if I should spoil it, but I knew exactly what I was putting 1 and 2, and I knew exactly what I was putting 19 through 22. So it just happened that 1 wasn't in either of those categories, and 1 actually snuck its way up to the top. Not to the top, but
technically
17. Yeah. So 1 was original Big Brother. It's not the Big Brother we have today. No, and Lavina said something like it's not Big Brother. It wasn't. It was audience vote, but like I said, I feel like just a lot of factors just pushed it up over some of the other seasons for me, especially like seasons like 15 and stuff like seasons like that. So
yeah. Here's the thing with 1 is that it's very unoffensive. Like it's just there. The characters were just kind of, there were some like good characters. I didn't watch all like 1 million episodes, but obviously I don't think most of us did. But that aside, another point that really made it not last for me was, again, the nostalgia. And let me expand on that. So when I first got into Big Brother, I obviously didn't get into it when I was like 5 years old, which is when it premiered. But so I went back and I looked at it and I was like, this is so cool. Like they were like, okay, it's this huge social experiment. That the premiere episode has like thousands of people in a crowd outside for the move-in. They're walking through like it's a red carpet. It was so like, I don't know, like it was like very like Y2K, like literally everyone's like, whoa, this like all seeing Big Brother eye and like technology's booming. It was just very Y2K. I just found it really charming. Obviously it's different now, but it's still a social experiment. But that was like they were like, oh, these people are gonna fight for food and they're gonna like, get cold water when they showered and if they whatever. So it was just really interesting to see how the dynamic was. I don't know.
That's very fair. I Honestly, it's kind of unfortunate that like we're comparing an all-star season. Highlight the word all-star season with the very first season of the show. It kind of shows the downfall of where Big Brother should be. But no, all good points. So I guess my question is to break this tie. Does anyone really like? Do we put 22 over 1, or do we put 1 over 22? Well, does anyone have like any real opinions on that? Because I can say I will put 22 over 1, but we can do a vote if you guys want.
I mean, just because somebody said it, Sarah said it, only because Davon's there, so the only reason I put 22 over 1 right now. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I would say so. Definitely put it over. Because at the end of the day, we didn't know if we were going to get a season because, you know, the pandemic was, we didn't even touch on this. Like the pandemic was raging. We had no idea what was going to happen. It was a really nice thing for us to take our minds off of the world being trash,
Literally.
even a little bit for a little bit of time. Like when I was watching live feeds, even though they were boring, a thing for me like on live feeds is that I don't know, I just feel like I'm watching people like just living their lives, you know, there could be some fun strategy talks, but also it's like I felt like less alone. Is that weird? Is that like kind of pathetic to say? I don't know, but yeah. So I just think that it's nice to have. It was nice for us to get in such a crazy year.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And Big Brother 22, one thing I will say about it as well is that one of the things that I think makes Big Brother special is the fact it's a social experiment and it causes some conversations to happen outside the house. And I think Big Brother 22 did spike some conversations that I found very compelling.
Yeah, there were a lot, actually, speaking on that, there were a lot of conversations that we saw this season that I don't think we've ever seen, like watching Big Brother. And big thanks to Davon because she had a huge hand in a lot of those conversations. A lot of her speeches, you know what? I will put 22 above 1 because of that. A lot of the speeches that Davon gave this season, those alone carried a lot of what we saw from the reason that she got America's Favorite Player. So, and I'm going to say it, I said it so many times, Davon did make the only move that season, and that was removing Kevin off the block with the power of veto. So, you know, I'll put 22 above 1 for that reason. There we go.
All right. So there you go. 22 will be over 1 on the full list. They both tied with 10 points, if I didn't say that already. So we're going to move on to number 20. Derek, can you guess what 20 is?
I'm between 19 and 15. I'm going to say 15.
You are wrong. It is 19 though.
Okay.
So Big Brother 19 is coming at number 20 with 11 points, literally 1 point away from tying with the bottom. Let's see. It looks like Lavina put it at 19. Sarah put it at 20, and then both me and Derek actually put it at 21. So, you know, literally just by a hair, it just misses the bottom. But Sarah, what opinions on Big Brother 19?
Yeah, I think this was a cast of people with great personalities and zero care about the game when I was watching it. I just felt like there was no gameplay from a single person in that house besides Paul. And the fact that someone like Cody ends up getting America's Favorite, I think that says a lot about the season as a whole. I just feel like, you know, some of those people have gone on to other shows. Like I think Josh has actually been, I don't really watch the challenge, but some of my friends, I don't know if you guys watch it. I think that a lot of people like Josh now. Maybe not. Maybe that's not.
I think he might, if I'm not wrong, Josh might be the only one from that season.
Yeah.
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 On the challenge?
Yeah, for anything, yeah.
Well, Lena and Mark is on the beach. Jessica and Cody did Amazing Race.
True.
Yeah.
But I don't know, to have someone like asked to be voted out, ridiculous.
Oh my God, my fridge.
Oh God. Yeah.
Go ahead, Lavina.
I see, like, I think when it comes to the house gets on that season, I just couldn't root for anybody. Like, I didn't really like anybody. Like, it's really rare for a season to have that. Like, I'm sure we're going to get to Big Brother 21 very, very soon. But even for Big Brother 21, at some point, you know, people are rooting for Nicole and, like, you know, maybe even Cliff, obviously Kemi, and, like, you know, they were rooting for Ovi and David at one point too. But it's like, sure, people were saying Jessica and Cody, but like Jessica and Cody weren't like they're still not people that I'm like, let me go follow them on social media to see what they're up to. Like, I'm not like caring about them. So, I mean, the only redeeming factor was the finale. I literally just rewatched the finale. I just had it on. Like, it was so much fun to see that live. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't find any of the characters like rootable at all. No one was likable.
I agree.
What's your opinions furthering that, Derek? Because like I said, we both put it the lowest.
19 was just not a respectable season. From start to finish, I was bored, honestly. Nobody wanted to play. Like they said, it was full of personality, but no gamers. And I don't know where they found those people that season, but it just wasn't it. We just watching Paul get his way week after week, watching people not have a backbone, just like saying, and then the cringy fights that they had. It's just like, usually I'm here for Big Brother drama. Like, I love Big Brother fights, but I just could not sit through those cringy ass fights that season. Or I'm sorry,
you're good. Trust me, we're fine.
Cringy fights that season, but it just wasn't. Yeah, so
they were so personal.
yeah,
oh
it was too over the top.
I'm not gonna ever forget when they all jumped Jessica and Cody in the back. It was just like
ridiculous.
Funny. Sammy said, being a Josh fan since BB19 pregame has been a long journey. Man, look, it's like the person who wore a tutu and banged pots and pans and stuff somehow won a social strategy game. There's something wrong with that. But yeah, I mean, I think out of all the seasons of Big Brother, 19 is the only one that I've yet to rewatch. And I think there's something to that. It's like, it's not a very likable cast. Like, I guess you got like Kevin. I don't even know. Sure. I mean, yeah, like sure. Out of the people who like last a long time, but it's like the fact that Cody was like the person who we had to look forward to for like America's favorite player. And I mean, you see where how everyone has an opinion on Cody now. I mean, I'm not a Cody fan. And then, you like Jessica, but like Jessica is going to be affiliated by Cody's. So it's just like that cast in general, it just like really went a weird way. I like Dominique. Dominique was cool. And then Paul, it's interesting because I think Paul has a lot of factors of a good player, but he just still didn't learn his lesson. And even if he did play good and you can respect it like after the fact, like during the season, I was not a Paul fan. Like I was actively rooting against Paul, and I was like happy that Josh won, and I don't even like Josh that much. So it's like, Big Brother 19 is a rabbit hole to go down, and I'm not shocked that it's this low. But moving on to number 19, this one has 16 points. If I didn't say 19 had 11 points. So, Lavina, what do you think is coming in at 19?
Let me reference mine. Okay. It's either 21 or 15.
All right. How about you, Sarah?
I personally had 9.
You would be correct.
I forgot about that one. Can I just say the only reason I ranked it was it my last? Yeah, I ranked it last was because I haven't seen a second of it. That's the only season I haven't seen a second of. I could barely tell you who was on the season, and I don't know why. I'm just so like, when you stop drinking soda and then you're like, I'm never drinking soda ever again. Like, I will never do it. It's kind of like that thing where I'm like, I've never seen 1 second of it, so I'm just not going to forever. I don't know why, but.
Well, look, I mean, you explained your reason. So you put 9 because you didn't see it last. Sarah put 9 at 21. Derek put 9 at... Derek, where did you put 9? 19, and then I put it, I think I had it the highest. I put it at 13. Here's why. Big Brother 9 is a mess, and it's like, it's not really Big Brother. I don't know what it is. Today I spent time rewatching some of a lot of the moments in this season, and it's because Big Brother 9, it just doesn't feel like Big Brother. It feels like VH1 or MTV like took over CBS for like a month. It's a lot of fighting, it's a lot of crazy people. The winner, Adam, like, he's actually not that bad of a player that people give him credit for, but still, like, even like after with the whole drug situation, this season is just like crazy. I like Sheila, I like Sharon. There's a lot of personalities, but it did get very nasty at times. But if you're looking for like this entertainment factor when it comes to Big Brother, in the verse of like just like arguments and stuff and like barely any gameplay that's like solid, this is the season for you. I mean, I think it's worth watching at least like once. For a while it was looked at as like the worst season, but I think the more recent seasons we get, people are starting to appreciate it a little bit more. So that's my personal thoughts. But Derek, what is your opinions on 9?
So for me, 9 is so low because I honestly, besides the winner, I cannot tell you one fact from that season. That's probably the only season that I cannot give you a fact about. Like, I literally was sitting here trying to think, like, what the hell happened? I can't, like, not one thing. I remember Adam won. That's it. Like, that's literally it. But I don't remember anything about season 9. It just didn't do it for me. And it was, obviously, I didn't watch. I don't think I watched when it aired. I think it was one of the seasons I went back to watch, but it just wasn't. I can't remember one thing about season 9 other than Adam winning, and that says a lot about the season itself. I don't know how everybody else feels, but it just wasn't my cup of tea at all.
I don't blame you.
Do you guys think that I just looked up what year it was because I forgot. It was 2008. Do you guys think that they saw like the really rising popularity of, like you said, the VH1 MTV reality shows that were just crazy and fighting all the time? They were like, let's cast a bunch of like chaotic people and get the same effect.
And wasn't 9 wasn't that was that the winter season?
Yes.
Was
year
it?
that they did. So they were in the middle of a writing strike at this time, right? And CBS was just desperate to have something on television, so they were like, let's just throw a Big Brother season out. And I feel like that's also plays a factor with this. It feels very like all over the place, because it is like there's not a lot of structure with this season. Like, I'm honestly the one thing I hate about this season, they did a competition, right? And the girl Sharon, she was doing very well, and I think she probably would have won, but they had a competition for a tiebreaker, and they were like, how many couples came into this house? And she got it right, but they rigged. I think it's rigged. Like, they rigged it basically, and they said, oh no, you're wrong, you forgot that the hamsters were a couple coming into the house. And people are like, what? So this season was a mess from top to bottom, not even just the players. So I think that's also contributing to it. Sarah, do you have any opinions on that?
No, and I think that's a bad thing. I don't know. This is, you mentioned this is a season you just see once, and that was me. I watched it one time a very long time ago, and I've had no interest in rewatching it. I think there was no one I was rooting for, which is rare. Because even if you're an awful person, I feel like there's always someone who's less awful that I have to root for. But I don't know.
There's no good players from this season. I agree with that. But yeah, so 9 is going to be 19 here, with 16 points. So next is 18. Derek, what do you think is coming in at 18 here?
I think it's 15's time to show up on the board.
15, Lavina, how about you?
Let me see again. Yeah, I think it's 15.
How about you, Sarah?
I think it's 21.
You would be correct. It is actually 21. And 21
results.
21 with 18 points. Let me see just real quick where everyone put this. So, Lavina, you put 21 at 18. Sarah, you put 21 at 18. Derek, you put 21 at 18. And I put 21 at 19. So, it's very averaged out, and that's why it's sitting here. Is there something to that, Lavina? Why is 21 just sitting like consistently there?
I think it's, I don't know. So for me, 15 versus 21, they're similar in a lot of ways, but they're not similar in other ways. They're similar in the racism, like blatant racism, but I feel like Big Brother, I don't know what you guys think, but I feel like Big Brother 15, like I feel like I handled it way better than 21 did. Like 21, they waited until the finale, and then they were like, okay, well, we're just going to do this to give Kemi like under like 10 seconds to say something and not confront, Jack properly about it or Jackson at all. But 15, they like completely clocked what was her name, Erin, like right on stage, and gave us one of the most like iconic moments of the season, where Julie's just like dragging her. I have receipts, like here they are. But I don't know. I don't know. I just feel like it was handled slightly better. And that's like really saying something, because CBS doesn't handle things well, like across the board. It's just kind of like, I don't know, they just handled it slightly better. And we can probably say that 15, the gameplay was better overall, if you ignore the bigotry, which is hard to do, obviously.
So I know for me, like 21 is I haven't rewatched 21 yet, and I think it's because like the thing with 21 and 15, both of them, there's a lot of like racist issues. I don't think CBS really handled either one of those correctly. Like I when you got like specifically 21 where they're like going to the DR and they're like, you're people are looking at you at this way, and then they, you can see them coming out and they're like, oh, like I love Kemi, like I would never say something bad about Kemi. It's like, they got tipped off. Where in 15, I don't think they ever handled that correctly, because they never were used to it becoming such a public issue, which is why you started seeing them put like the warning on the screen, right? And I look back at this today. I think 21 honestly has one of the most unlikable casts out of all seasons. Like the only redeeming factors here was like what Kemi, Nicole, which honestly she kind of tarnished her reputation in All Stars, and then I guess like maybe like Jessica or Catherine Dunn, right? But everyone else is very, and I guess Ovi, but like everyone else is kind of like just there. And Grateful as an alliance, they're I think they're up there with like the friendship for like some of the most unlikable alliances, because they just like it's hard to root for them. Jackson, even though Endgame, I will say he did a fairly good job handling it. Watching him on feeds for me was a hard time, and I think it was like watching him with like Holly, for example, where like she didn't want to do stuff on camera, but then he like threatened to break up with her. I thought that was so weird. Or I thought Tommy and Christy were very annoying a lot. Cliff doing the toilet thing to blame it on David, and Camp Comeback. Oh my gosh, there's just a lot that I didn't care for with this season on both production and cast side, where I think 15, it's a lot just more cast versus production, if that makes any sense. What do you think, Derek?
Wait, are we talking about 21?
21.
All right. Like there were certain people that I liked with 21. I feel like 21. I don't know. I just couldn't. I don't know. I didn't like it. It wasn't one of my top seasons. Not a big fan of it. The cast itself, there, like you said, there were a few people that were okay, but there were also quite a bit of people that were just to watch. Wasn't a big fan of a lot of the men that they had on there. Just wasn't. I think it's in a good spot. I think it's where it should be on the rankings. No, 21 for me.
Sarah, any opinions on 21?
Yeah, I think just as a whole, everyone we'd want to root for went home so early, and it was just so disappointing. It was just like a steamroll. It just was not fun to watch. It was very cringy when the bullying that happened, like the mob mentality that happened against like Nicole, which is so gross. And like honestly, like when I heard about Camp Comeback as an idea, I was like, okay, honestly, like if there's going to be a battle back, I don't think that's like an awful idea to like let them stay in the house and continue playing the game. But then they just got so isolated because no one would talk to them, no one would talk games. So it just became like very, very gross. Yeah. And I think it was just one of those seasons too where there was no one we were rooting for because the people we liked went home early. And so it was just like very disappointing.
Yeah,
production, production dropped the ball. Definitely. Go ahead, Derek, though. That's all.
There you go. Camp Comeback, I think, like you said, was a good twist. It would have worked out so well, but just different cast dynamics, I guess we needed for that twist to be, what they wanted it to be, I'm sure, as well. So, because it flopped.
All right. So there you go, 21. I will say, because that one came in with 18 points. The next one came with 24 points, and you guys clocked it already. It was BB 15. And Big Brother 15, I mean, we spoke a little bit about it just now, but I think it's crazy because I think like last year, I spent time watching it for the second time, I'm like, all right, maybe I'm okay with revisiting the season. And the first half, I actually enjoyed a lot of it, but you can see the progression of like Aaron, and oh my gosh, like a lot of feelings like came back that I totally forgot that I had about that season. And it's like the cast, I guess they just were so comfortable saying a lot of controversial things. Like I loved watching Amanda again, and then you get to the part with her and Candace, and you're like, ooh, like Amanda, what are you doing? It's so hard because there's actually a lot of good gameplay specifically from people like Andy, and there's some interesting characters at some points, like with like Helen and Amanda, and at some points, I guess like Spencer and all those other people. But it's just like, I don't know, just the vibe and the tone of the season really just like took a lot of it away. And I can see why like a lot of those people haven't gotten invited back despite being so vocal on Twitter. But I mean, like I get it. Like I used to put it as like my worst. It's grown on me a tad bit just for the amount of strategy. Like I'm never going to forget moments like Andy pulling that huge blindside on like Alyssa for that double. That was like, I was like, what? Or the exterminates, but I didn't care for Gina Marie either, by the way. But Sarah, what's your opinions on 15?
Yeah, 15 is really hard for me because it's such a divide from a cast of like really good characters on paper, like good personalities, good strategists, great game players who like like I think people like Helen and even Andy should be invited back theoretically on paper. But the problem is there was so much bad that happened in the beginning, and the cast even clocked it. Like wouldn't they talk about Aaron being racist like in diary rooms? Like it wasn't like they were unaware on like 21 where I feel like it just went over people's heads more. I feel like people clocked it, and yet they didn't do enough to stop it, and like also participated while also making diary room comments against it. And it was just very gross in the beginning. I think my saving grace too is I feel like they got their, what's that word, comeuppance? Like they got what was coming to them. Like Aaron got, wrecked by Julie and things like that, I think did make it a little bit better. But it's just like the strategy of it made it really hard for me to know where to put it. And also, this is a side note, I'm very bothered how much of a following Aaron has now on like Instagram.
Oh my god,
yeah, probably has like one of the largest followings. I think she has like a top 10 following of Big Brother players, and that really bothers me, just like on a personal level.
She's like YouTube famous now, right?
Yeah.
YouTube, yeah.
She's like a mommy vlogger or something. And, she obviously got married, changed her last name. And she's just trying to like brush it under the rug as much as she can. So, and I guess she's been successful. Also, I'm not sure if her audience that she has right now would even care if they heard this about her. So, I mean, hey, that's
I'm
hot
sure
take, I
they
guess.
know.
But
I'm sure
she's grown. She's grown. It was in the past.
Right. Yeah. Not that freaking long ago. But anyways, another thing I want to say about Andy is that like I know Andy's not the most thrilling person on Twitter. He can be kind of, depending on how you feel, like he can be a little bit annoying, but like I personally think that it sucks how overlooked his win is because of his cast. And I know he's not like the most perfect angel ever, who is, but like, I don't know. I feel like his win is like top, like his gameplay that is as a winner is like, it could even be top 5 for me, but it just gets so overlooked because of his cast. And that pains me to say.
Go ahead, Derek.
See, I'm on the other opposite side of that because I feel like every bad side of karma that this cast sees is all deserved. They were either a racist or an enabler. Mm-hmm. So Andy was very much so an enabler. He didn't do a lot of the things that was being done, but he also didn't try to stop it either. For me, this season, I never went back and rewatched. I don't have the strength to do that. Probably won't do that. But it was just so hard for me to focus on Big Brother out with this season. But don't get me wrong, there are moments that I remember from this season outside of that I can't say for BB9. They started the first night we got fees. I believe they were fighting over wine. There was gate going on when Jeremy drank all the wine, the bottle that they had. Then you got Candace calling the house meeting and going off on Spencer there. Then you just had like different things, like Candace fucking rocking the clown outfit like we had never seen before. It's just like you had so many different things from that season that you can see. But then you had the big, I feel like it kind of like overshadowed, which I mean, I think some people would agree, like it overshadowed Big Brother in that moment because like Isaiah said, they had to start giving us that censor on the feeds. Like we never gotten that censor before. Now we're getting this censor about people are going to say things, you know, that whatever it was saying. But I don't know. For me, I just feel like for Big Brother 15 lost its touch for me, so I just couldn't focus on the game. I'm not a big Andy fan, so I don't have any props to give Andy. Helen, I did love Helen. I hate that Helen's a part of that season and probably won't be invited back because I do feel like she played a really good game and she deserves. I remember the night she won HOH, I was downstairs at home, my mom's, and I was like screaming so loud. My mom came downstairs and was like, "What the hell are you screaming for? Are you okay?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm just so excited," because they were on the bottom so much. So it's like when she had finally won the HOH, it was just something to be excited for because after all they had went through that season. So, but yeah.
Yeah, and I will say, I agree with this person, CK. Yeah, I think 15 is. I'm not going to say the most, but this person, the most competitive, game savvy cast ever. But the controversial things ruined the season. I think there are a lot of competitors in the season, but it was just so hard to watch. Like I think when I did rewatch it, I was like, dang man, like I feel it, I get it. Because oh my gosh, I was such a huge Amanda fan. At first until she started saying all that wild stuff. I'm like, Amanda, no. I was like, why did you do that?
They had us in the first half, not gonna lie.
And I liked Alyssa too. I thought Alyssa was funny. I mean, I didn't care for the twist, the MVP or whatever, but I thought it was so funny how everyone was so afraid of Amanda. Every single time there were HOH and did what she wanted to do. And then Alyssa comes in and she's like, no, I'm not going to do it. And Amanda just goes psycho. I thought that was hilarious. But enough of 15. That's 15. 15 is coming with 24 points. Like I said, I forgot to say where everyone ranked it. So Lavina did 15 at 17. Sarah did 15 at 14. Derek did 15 at 12. Oh, Derek did 15 at 20. Sorry, and then I put 15 at 16. So there you go. I will say after that, I mean, I might as well just drop the next one. Coming in at 16 with 31 points is actually Big Brother 13, and where everyone ranked that, Lavina, you put 13 at 12. Sarah, you put 13 at 17. Derek put 13 at 13, and then I put 13 at 18. So, Derek, what is your opinion on 13?
So that was 13 is one of the seasons. I like Rachel, but I feel like for me, I don't know. I just remember the Rachel dynamics from that season, and then because that was was that her and Reagan that season? It was 13, right?
That was 12.
12.
Oh, sorry.
It was 12.
This is the top when the couple came back.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think for me, I was just more of a Rachel fan that season. I was more of her fan that season than I was on the prior season. So I think that's why I have it so high. I don't remember a lot from that season, honestly, but I do remember just like Rachel being there and the dynamics from her. So.
This was my first season of Big Brother, so I was like a huge Rachel fan when she first came out too. Lavina, before I start rambling on, what's your opinion on 13?
So the way that I justify having it higher than the ones that I have at this rank is I'm a Rachel fan too. I love a strong female character. She's hilarious. She's hilarious, and she had pretty good gameplay in 13. She was constantly fighting for her life, and granted it worked out much better in 13. She was the winner. But another thing too is oh wait, no, I was going to say something. I was going to say like a spoiler for a future thing, but yeah, I just I also love the dynamic of Danielle flipping on her alliance, and I loved the her like girl group with Portia and why am I forgetting
Kalia.
her third name? Kalia, oh my god, I love her. Yeah, those three, like I loved that dynamic, especially the duo of Kalia and Danielle. So to see her, because Again, I'll get to it when I get to 11. Spoiler alert, I ranked 11 on my personal rankings in this spot right here, because I'm not a big Jeff and Jordan fan. Like, I don't like either of them, like, point blank period. I didn't think Jordan was a good winner, but I'll get to it. I loved how she was constantly, going after Jeff, and it just made for good TV for me for that reason alone.
How about you, Sarah?
Yeah, so I would say my biggest issue, because I ranked this one, I think, fairly low, probably pretty close to where it's at now. And I think my biggest issue with the season was production, actually. I think the twist to start the game, the fact that it was half coupled vets versus complete newbies, I think is a complete unfair advantage to the newbies. And so, I think the only reason why the newbies did so well is because Evil Dick left so early. And so the fact that Danielle kind of was a free agent, I think really helped her. But I thought it was totally unfair. Like, someone like Cassie, who I think is like the prettiest person to ever be on Big Brother. Side note. But the fact, I think she was like a very smart and savvy player. And the fact that she went home so early was so sad to me. And as it went on, like the Pandora's box and things like that, like, not to like discredit Rachel's win, but it just was not as clean of a season as some other ones. Like, there was just a lot of production interference that to me just kind of tainted the season for me.
I agree. I'm going to say two things. One, Shelly robbed. I thought Shelly was a fantastic player in the season, and she really got screwed over by that choice, Pandora's box. Second thing, if they need like a wild card pick for All Stars, and they didn't want to put David in, you should have put LaJuan in there, because LaJuan was like superpowers. Come on, but this is my first season.
LaJuan is so bad at Big Brother.
You like I think in terms of like newbies, this is one of the weaker seasons. The vets really carry a lot of this. Even with like Dick kind of like setting that foundation, and then he has to go. But really, like, on the entertainment side, like, I think Rachel and Danielle like carry the rest of the season. Like, they were just so fun to watch go back and forth, like dramatic Rachel versus super cutthroat Danielle, even though it wasn't in her best interest. It was just so fun to see. And it was a great experience. It's what got me into the show. So that's my own little personal qualm. I will say that Dominic, I wish I got to see him play again, because I think he actually had a lot of aspects of a good player, but we couldn't see that, obviously. But that's my opinions. I don't know if anyone else has anything to say about 13, but we're going to move on. Lavina actually clocked number 11 or number 15, because it is BB11, which is number 15, and it is 32 points. Let's see. So Lavina, like she said, put it at 16. Sarah, you put 11 at 16. Derek put 11 at 10. And I put 11 at 17. So real quick, Derek, why top 10 season for you?
Listen, honestly, it's where it fell. I had other ones on my list that I would put lower than that one, and then that's the spot that it fell in. I don't really have any strong opinions about 11. I agree. I don't think Jordan's the best winner there. Me personally, I probably would have voted. I think her name was it Natalie that she said next to. But I don't think Jordan was the best winner there. I feel like, I agree with that. But as far as why it's 10 on my list, it's where it failed. There were 11 or 12 other seasons after that I thought were worst.
That's fair.
Fair enough.
Honestly, the only things I can really care for this season, I guess, was like Kevin fighting, and then like Russell acting like a complete maniac. Oh, and Chima was like really funny for me too. I like Chima, but I don't. This season, it honestly for me is one of the most boring seasons ever. I could not. And I tried to go back for like a second time and watch it. So bored. Like, I sat through it, but I was so bored. And it's because they're trying to push this Jeff and Jordan narrative, and they want them to be the it factor. But I don't care for Jeff or Jordan. I know Lavina spoke on that, but Lavina, what's your thoughts on that?
First off, the coup d'etat. Why?
Oh yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, but production has never been more transparent than that moment. Like, to give him all the power. I mean, I don't blame Chima for like having a meltdown. Like, I too would have a meltdown and throw my stuff into into the pool. So iconic. I love using that gif. But yeah, I don't understand the Jeff and Jordan aspect of anything of the season. And the thing with Jesse coming back in, I would rather have seen Brian come in, or even honestly even Jessica. I love Big Brother 8. I'll get to that. But if I were to choose, it would have been Brian. I didn't like how, I know they didn't want to do like a boring vote in, like another fan vote in, like how they do with like vets coming in. And so they had it so that, what was it, like each team's, the representative of each team, they had their own representative as a vet, and then whoever won HOH. So that's how Jesse came in. And, I didn't not care for Jesse. It was just kind of like a non-factor for me because, obviously the coup d'etat happened and production decided to be very transparent. So yeah, I don't know. I didn't like Jeff Jordan. I didn't like, how production, it felt, a lot of people always who don't watch Big Brother are always like, is it fake? Is it scripted? Is it rigged? And I always say no, because I truly believe all those things. But if I were to say, if anything was ever rigged, it would be the coup d'etat.
I agree. Sarah, what do you feel about it?
Yeah, I agree. I don't ever like too big of twists. Like I like some twists, add a little shake up, but ones like that are so clearly pointed for one person to succeed, to me are just not good. And Jesse was actually doing pretty well this season too. So that poor guy got screwed so hard. Like all the videos of people crying when he left. Like I think I was recently like listening to a podcast and they were saying that like in some alternative universe, like Jesse was going to be the Paul of the season if the coup d'etat had happened. So maybe it could have been worse. Who knows? But
oh my god,
yeah, I think it was just definitely one of those seasons that I don't know. Kevin was cool, right? Kevin, we like Kevin.
Yeah.
This season,
maybe a little less now.
For the season, yeah.
This would have been we could have had Mr. Spectacular as like a top 5 winner. We got robbed of that. So we're gonna move on from that. So next is 14. Sarah, what do you think is at 14?
Oh,
we're starting to get into the mid tier.
I'll guess 18.
You're wrong. What do you think, Lavina?
I'm trying not to just say what I did. I'm gonna say maybe 12.
You're wrong, Derek.
Okay.
What do you think?
So I'm going up a little bit. I'm going with 2.
You are also wrong. It is Big Brother 5 at 37.
Oh my god, I would have been close if I
was this 14?
Yeah, this is 14. So Big Brother 5. So let me see. Big Brother 14. Hey, what's up, Josh? Sorry. Anyway, so Lavina, you put 14. You put Big Brother 5 at number 14. Sarah, you put Big Brother 5 at, where did you put it at? You put it at 12. Derek, you put 5 at 14, and then I put it at 16. So it's around the same area. Sarah, you seem very shocked with 5 being so low.
I am. 5 was a historic season. This is the season that introduced the back door. We got some iconic characters that came back for All Stars. This was when they had the twin twist, right? Am I wrong? Am I mixing up my season?
This is Drew's season. This is Drew's.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm mixing up season.
Yeah, you might be right.
Wait, with Adria, right?
Swapping.
Yeah,
which was okay, good. Which was
Project DNA.
Yeah, it was executed perfectly. Like the fact that they found 2 people that look so similar and they went so far along. I don't know. I think it had a lot of fun elements.
Do you agree with her, Lavina?
Yeah, actually, you know what? When she brought that up, when I was doing these rankings, I just kind of viewed 5 as I don't really have an opinion. I was just kind of like blah about it. So that's why I was like, let me keep it kind of mid. But now that Sarah's saying like the whole Nokomis thing, with the, what do they call it? The 5-finger plan? With the back door. I didn't even take that into account. That is huge. Like this is still used today, obviously. So dang, I feel like I would rank it a little bit differently, honestly.
So Derek, Josh actually has a question in the chat. Josh says, "Do you think season 5 would be more highly regarded if the representatives did better in All Stars?" Because like what we think, Diane didn't do too hot, Nokomis didn't do too hot, and then Jace had his scream moments, but didn't do too hot as well.
Right. I don't know. For me, with 5, I agree with what Lavina said with Sarah. Like when I was doing these ranking, I was just like, what can I think about 5? It's kind of blah, it's mid. But then hearing Sarah say like things about the back door and then the Project DNA, we did see a lot of new things in Big Brother that we hadn't seen before this season. So I agree that after thinking about that, the rankings would change. But as far as Josh's question, I mean, probably so. I feel like if there were more like memorable characters, maybe it would have done a little better, or to given us like, a better spark, I guess, to rank it, put it higher up there. But it's more for me.
Like I think BB5 isn't the most like, oh, we need to rewatch 5. I mean, if this was like a ranking of like where has production done the best, I think this will be up there because this is, in terms of casting twists, crazy. Like I think it's awesome. It's like once in a lifetime thing that you can get this together. But in terms of entertainment, I wasn't too entertained. Like it was just there. I mean, like, the Four Horsemen was semi, like, like if the Four Horsemen did what they did now, they'd probably be a lot more successful. But they were something. I mean, Nokomis, Marvin, I like them. Diane was cool. Like I'll never forget when Drew cut Diane at that. Like that is cutthroat. That was crazy to me. And if I can think of anything else in the season, it's just a very season. It's just there. But it doesn't take anything away from it. I still think it's really cool. But that is our ranking for that. So we're going to enter our next tie. Both of these seasons tied at 46 points, and it is number 12 and number 13. So, Lavina, can you guess at least one of the seasons that is in this tie right now?
It's got to be 16.
You are correct. So 16 is one of the seasons tied at 12 and 13. And then Sarah, can you guess one of the other ones?
Well, I'll do 18 again.
You were correct. So 16
nice.
and 18 are tied. So there you go. I mean, where do we want to start? We can start with 16. Before I start defending it, Derek, let me see where everyone ranks 16 first. So, Lavina put 16 at 15.
I'm gonna argue.
Sarah put 16 at 11. Derek put 16 at 9, and I put 16 at 10. So, you know what? Let's start with Lavina. Lavina, you put the lowest. What's going on?
Honestly, I would have ranked it lower, but I didn't want to get cyberbullied. So I just don't like this season. And you know how, like, I saw a TikTok of this beautiful girl. She did a TikTok. I don't know if you guys saw it, like, on your timelines. She was talking about how BB16, like, I think she said, like, ruined the course of Big Brother or something. Watch that TikTok. I don't know. I'll find it in my favorites to send it to you guys. But I saw that recently, and I got, like, angry. Yes, thank you, Josh. That's how I feel. And people say Derek is the most dominant. He's top 3. They rank him as a top 3 winner. I don't know I only know my top 2. I don't know what the rest of my winners are, but I definitely know that Derek is not my 3rd. And it's because, and the girl said in the TikTok as well, that he never faced any adversity. And the cast that he was casted with they were just like, it wasn't a Paul situation. There were some gamers. I'm not going to say that there were. And I might get cyberbullied for this too. I think Frankie was a decent gamer. He was a decent game player. He wasn't as awful as his like persona and like character was that annoying, as people think. But anyways, I just don't think that he faced enough adversity. And I know the season's not all about Derek, but on the flip side, I will say that the good parts of it is, it was pretty entertaining in the first half, especially. There was like really memorable moments. Devin, like, come on, Devin carried the first half. This man's so entertaining. And Zach, we can't get past Zach. What else can I think of? I mean, the Zach and Frankie stuff was fine. Like, it was fun, I guess. And I do think that Frankie doing that one, was it a veto or a battle of the block by himself, was a really cool moment. And yeah, so I think that's overall how I feel. But I feel like 16 was a marking point in the Big Brother timeline of a change in the game. And I don't love the change, even though the following season right after I really enjoyed. I still think it set the course.
So I was gonna put this higher, but when I started doing this, I actually put it a lot lower, and I'm half and half on it. So I feel like it's a nostalgia thing, because I think out of most of the Big Brother cast, I honestly think when it comes to entertainment, I was entertained by a lot of these people. I think Zach Rance is probably one of my favorite people to play the game with entertainment. I think Devin Shepard is amazing. I'm a huge Devin Shepard fan. And then it's also something to say that 3 winners, this is the only season in Big Brother that 3 winners have come from the same place. You got Derek, Nicole, and Cody. So I'm going to give it its props. But I do agree with you that I think 16 really ruined a lot of the structure for the game, because Derek cracked the code. He figured out the formula, and I mean, kudos to him. But the longevity factors that came with it is that it's just like it made the game so stale, and it's just kind of hard to just watch everyone just willingly just give Derek the win. Like, I think the only time he kind of really felt some type of adversity was when Zach actually approached him and was like, or no, he was trying to set him up with Victoria and Nicole and stuff, but that came to bite him in the butt, and he didn't really fight back. But other than Zach, I don't think anyone had any plans to take him out, despite how good they were playing. Like Frankie, I think if he sits in another season, he does. I don't care for Frankie, but he did pretty well. But I don't know if Frankie had any plans to take Derek out. And if he did, he seemed like he was scared to. Nicole seems very scared to take out him. Cody, I mean, we saw afraid to do it. So it's like, I wanted a lot more. I wanted a back and forth. At least I wanted to see Derek struggle a little bit, and he never did that. But I like the people like Donnie. I like the Ambers. This is a very memorable cast, so I'll give it that. But other than that, it's I can understand where Lavina's at. How do you feel about it, Sarah?
Yeah, so I will say that there's 2 sides of the spectrum for seasons that I usually don't enjoy. One is if the house is too toxic, is too confrontational, it's not enjoyable to watch. And the other side is when they try to be some big happy family. I don't enjoy that either. I think this cast genuinely loved each other, and I think that made it less enjoyable as viewers. I just don't think there was enough confrontation and drama. And when I watched the season live, I really liked it. I think it's also one of those seasons that did not age well. There's some seasons like Big Brother 12 that I think aged really well, but there's other ones like Big Brother 16 I think have become more icky looking back. Some of the characters I think that had some fans, Frankie and Derek now I think have kind of but then now there's people like Christine, who got so much hate on the show that I think was very undeserved. I think she was done so dirty by production, and I think that's really disheartening to look back on as well. And I don't know. And also, you were talking about the Battle of the Block with Frankie. I don't know if you watched Zach Rance's expose on Big Brother. Apparently that was production riggery as well, because they changed the entire competition to give it a competition that Frankie could do by himself, which is just so annoying.
Yeah.
So
do we believe him though?
Yeah, how do we know?
Yeah. I believe him.
My thing, the only thing with that, this is what? It was an NFL sponsored competition, and it was a very specific game too. It's I'll take it at face value. I don't know. I know Zach has been a big personality outside of Big Brother and says a lot of things, so it's hard. But I'll take it at face value. What are you about to say, Derek?
Oh no, I was just gonna. I feel like Zach would have to be outside for the set building, and then the building of the set, and then I'll actually confirm that part. I don't know, but for me, 16 is at 9. There's just I I feel like for me it's so high because I like people, certain people. Like Brittany Martinez, she robbed too soon. Loved her, like she had a personality, and I think that in that time of Big Brother, like we had saw a young, like she was. I guess she was not like too young, but she was like a young mom. She had like 3 kids, like 3 boys, something like that, and she was like in her early 30s or late 20s or something, I believe. And she wanted to play. We had people like Amber who also wanted to play. Amber's game was completely like put into shambles by Caleb, which sucked. Jocasta. I know Jocasta wasn't this big player, but there's nothing more iconic than the Speaking in Tongues moment, baby. Like she gave y'all Speaking in Tongues that you'd never seen on Big Brother before. Nicole, I'm not a big fan of Nicole today, but I like Nicole then.
That's very fair.
Donnie, I like Donnie. Like this, they're a likable cast, and I think that's why I put them so high because I like Donnie. I was never a big fan of Derek. Zach Rance, I was very on and off with Zach Rance. Frankie annoyed me, but I can look back and respect the game that he played. Was never a big fan of Caleb. I don't know, just breaking down the whole cast, but it was just like a lot of them that I liked and enjoyed. So I think that's why they're so high on my list.
And just to echo what Matt said in the comments, 16 was there because they wanted to shift to modern day Big Brother. And after the controversy of 15, the producers intentionally wanted a more light and goofy season. I agree with that. When you get like crazy 15 with all that bad stuff, and then we got this, it's like, I think that's why I start out saying, like, I don't know if it's nostalgia playing, but I did really like this cast. And I think that's honestly what puts it in like this area. Because without like the likable cast, like imagine the season without the likable cast. I don't think it has the same reputation. But
yeah. I did want to say too, that like I think, yeah, I didn't think about it that way that Matt said too. Like, you know, Team America, that I feel like that directly reflects it. And do you guys remember the scene with Jocasta and Donnie? Didn't Donnie use his veto on Jocasta? Yeah. That was one of my favorite moments. And that's genuinely like the lightest, like not goofy necessarily, but like one of the lightest and like warmest moments that they could show. So it's a very stark contrast between the season previously. So that totally makes sense.
Yeah. So that comment that I think his name was Matt just said that helped me. What I was trying to say about my point was when I mentioned Brittany. So like if you look at and the modern day statement that he made. So if you look at moms on the show, Brittany was that first kind of mom like that, her style that I got, because if you compare like her to like a Helen on BB15, they're like two different moms. Helen had kids where you could be like, yeah, Helen's a mom. She was like all about that. Brittany was all about her mom too, but I don't know. I just feel like it was more of like a youthful side. Even though Brittany was, like I said, she wasn't even young. She was like maybe like late 20s, early 30s, but it was still like a more youthful side of a mom. So I feel like because of 15, the casting also changed as well, going into 16 and on. So.
Well, before we decide on that, we can talk about 18 as well. And just see where everyone put 18. Lavina, you put 18 at 13. Sarah, you put 18 at 13. Derek, you put 18 at 4. And then I put 18 at 15. So, you know, everyone but Derek, you know what? I'm gonna let you talk again.
Yeah, I'll go first, and I'll take it, y'all. For this one, I was completely blinded by the fact that I was so in love with Davon at this point, y'all. Like she popped out of that box, and I was like so happy that she was back. And not to mention, like I felt like 18 had good moments. If you look at the first half of that season, the birthday party that they had for, I think, was it Zakia's birthday? Incredible moment. She got people like Zakia on there that, you know, when she got with Paulie, it was like, but only she was with us, like Zakia, Michelle, Davon. Nicole lost me that season. I hate to say it, but she did. I like BB18. I don't know if it's the best modern season, but I did like BB18. Again, it's a character thing for me. I like some of the characters that was on that season. The twist that season, I did feel like they had a bomb-ass twist that season. Execution, I don't know, but I feel like the round trip thing that was like I really enjoyed that twist. I thought it was probably one of the better ones that they did with the finding the clues and figuring out that room. So I don't know. That's why it's so high for me, you know. So I'm curious to see how y'all feel about it.
I mean, when I watched it, I'm not a Nicole fan, so I'm, you know, Straying away from that. There were some characters here. I liked a lot of the women who played in this season. Got Davine, amazing. This is honestly what made her the All-Star. I love Davine in this. I like Zakia. I like Bridget, even though, we'll get to Frank in a second. I liked Big Meech. Oh my God, so dramatic. There was a lot of characters here, and then we have Paul and Victor. There were some cool people here.
Yeah.
This before I dislike Paul, obviously, but there are some cool people here. There's just something about the actual gameplay side. I feel like there's just so many errors. Like I think this season had a lot of strategic errors, but like a lot of like enjoyable moments. Like when you're looking at people like James, I think that he fell from grace like crazy coming in here. You look at Frank, who I was so excited to see Frank again, and then just to see him in this, he just like, ooh, it was so slimy. There was a lot of people here who just made a lot of mistakes. You got Paulie, who had honestly an iron fist on the season and then just dropped. There's just a lot of people who were running the game and just dropped. And like we were this close to having like a Corey one. Like, are you serious? It's just like there was just a lot of strategic error. So I think that's why I brought it down for me, because I like my best seasons are that have the ones that have the best of both worlds: a good cast, good entertainment, and good strategy. That's like perfect for me. And this. It was just missing a lot of the strategy. Now we'll say Big Brother 18 has the best jury segments out of any season. Like I will never forget like all like the progression of like Davon finding out that Zakia got out because of Paulie, and then Paulie getting here and there's like all the girls are against Paulie, and then you go back and then Zakia's back with Paulie and Davon and all the girls hate Paulie and they're fight. It was so crazy to watch. Like I didn't care about the actual season. I was like, I can't wait to see the segments. And the jury was awesome. And even the final two, I thought Paul versus Nicole. I still think Paul should win that, but it was a crazy outcome. Like I had no idea where I was going to go. It was unpredictable. And it was a great, it has some great factors. But it was just missing some things. How do you feel about that, Sarah?
Yeah, I just think Big Brother 18, I think it is a solid season. I just think I feel pretty neutral about a lot of things. I'm pretty neutral about the winner. I'm pretty neutral about the gameplay. And something that brings it down, I don't think a player should be allowed to come back 3 times. I feel like that was like a big thing for me, even though like if anyone's going to come back, I was happy it was Victor at the time, but still it was just one of those things that just kind of like tainted the season for me for a little bit. So I think we're pretty high. Where are we at right now? What number are we at?
We're at a tie between 12 and 13 right now. So
like what number are we like at 12? The 12th?
12, yeah.
Oh, really? I think it is about halfway for me. I'm pretty neutral on it.
Yeah. How about you, Lavina?
Yeah, I would say that it's definitely in the right spot. And you actually took the words right out of my mouth. I love the women on the season. And like, we have Davon. Like if you have Davon on a season, like we discussed in the beginning, like it should be a little bit higher, like a certain percentage higher, because of that. But we had like Michelle and like people were like, oh, she was a crybaby. You need a crybaby every season. If I was on a season, I'd be the crybaby. So like I'm with her. Yeah, I love the women on the season. And I was gonna say like the way that I rank things is like, obviously the legacy. And for me, part of legacy is like, what are some moments? Like for the seasons that are ranked lower, I don't really have moments, but for this season, like, just something even as little as like Paulie waving that American flag, like, come on. Dude. And then he's talking about like that butterfly in the backyard. And James is like, are you okay, man? And he's like, I think I'll be okay, or whatever he said. He's just like crying. That was like those moments, the jury moments you guys touched on. Like these are all moments. Like the moments are huge, and yeah. Otherwise, it's definitely it's where it's supposed to be.
I will also say, I mean, I usually don't care for showmances, but I like Natalie and James in this. By the way, I mean, I know obviously they didn't work out, but in the game, they were cool. So I guess. We can. Do we want to go with the vote, or do we have a consensus? Are we putting 16 over 18 or 18 over 16?
I'm
18
here
over.
18 over 16.
18 over 16? Is that the consensus?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let me edit that real quick. Hold up. So 18. Huh?
No, I was just going to say she spoke about Paulie with the flag. There's never a funnier moment from that season than him crying with his hands out, baking a cake in the kitchen, crying. I was like, oh my God.
He was like, I can't do this anymore. Because he was like going to get voted out, right? That was the situation.
So bad.
Yeah.
So at 13 BB 16 and at 12 BB 18. So just for a rundown for people who are coming in late, we got at number 12 Big Brother 18, 13 Big Brother 16, 14 Big Brother 5, 15 Big Brother 11, 16 Big Brother 13, 17 Big Brother 15, 18 Big Brother 21, 19 Big Brother 9, 20 Big Brother 19, 21 BB 22, and 22 BB 1. That being said, we're going to move on to 11, the last one before we get to the top 10. Lavina, do you have any ideas of what this one could be?
Let's see. Where are we? Okay. 12?
You're correct. 12 with 47 points, literally 1 point away from that tie. And you know what? I think there's something similar with all three of these, and to a degree, 14. They're all really like neutral seasons. Am I wrong about that?
Yeah.
Like,
No, you're right about it.
Yeah, okay. like they just feel very like mid. But I will say, in terms of cast, 12, I mean, the season itself is kind of boring, honestly. But in terms of cast, this might be like one of the most like all-star studded casts, if there is any. Like you got Brittany, you got Rachel and Brendan, you got all four members of the brigade. I mean, Lane, okay, whatever. But you know, you got Lane. There's a lot of stars in this cast, and you know, I appreciate it for what it is. Lavina, while we're here, what's your opinions on 12?
Obviously the brigade, here's the thing, like we say 16, like Derek kind of like cracked the code. I feel like the brigade also cracked the code, but they didn't like crack the code and then like break the game. You know what I'm saying? In a sense, maybe in that season, they kind of broke the season because they were just running the damn show. Like the same way that the Pretty Boys and Big Brother Canada did, Big Brother Canada 7 did. So I think that, you know, was it fun to watch? Not really, but so I guess I kind of ranked it leaning on, you know, it was, like I said, it was good gameplay, but don't get me wrong. But I also ranked leaning on the moments again. I'm going to keep saying moments. Rachel and Reagan, like getting into it, like please, like I replay that monthly, like in my brain, that kind of stuff. And I mean, Brittany, like, you know, in the beginning, I feel like Brittany and Monet at first, when you're first watching it, I feel like you could think that they're kind of catty. Like rewatching it for the second time, I was like, are Rachel and Monet, or not Rachel, Monet and Brittany kind of catty, like sort of. But then I was like, you know what? No, it's just, they're not necessarily hurting anybody. It's just good TV to me. So yeah.
I think Brittany is the best. I mean, either her or Davon have the best confessionals, period. Like, and Big Brother, like, oh my gosh, I can't stop thinking about all the crazy things. She's like, we'd rather hang ourselves, or all that fun stuff. And oh my gosh, like you got Matt Hoffman, where he actually was on our channel. I remember Sarah did a segment with him, but like the whole Matt Hoffman thing, like he came in pretending like his wife had some disease. I'm like, oh my god, but like. Oh, like I don't know why he wasn't on All Stars, but anyway, you know, you got him, and then you got Enzo and Hayden. Where Hayden honestly is like a top 10 winner in my opinion. We're going to do a winners ranking eventually, so I can't wait to do that. But you know, it was just like there's just so many fun people. You got Captain Kosher and even Andy, who was supposed to be the saboteur, which that twist flopped. Like if this cast wasn't that good, like that twist completely flopped. But you know, it was a fun cast, and I enjoyed it for what it was. You even got like Crazy Kathy and all these other people.
Oh my gosh, Kathy and the Honey, one of the most iconic scenes.
Derek, you got any strong opinions on Big Brother 12?
No, I wasn't a 12 fan. No, I hear people like rate about the brigade all the time, but honestly, I wasn't really into 12 like that. I do like Hayden though, because I've seen him on Survivor after that. But other than that, I just don't really care for 12.
I will say it's interesting that we got to see how Brendan operates in Big Brother alone, and then the season like right after you got to see Rachel alone. So I thought that was funny as well. But real quick, because I forgot to say it, Lavina put 12 at 11. Sarah put 12 at where did you? Oh, 9. So that was in your top 10. Derek put 12. I think the lowest at 15. And then I put it at 9. So there you go. Does anyone else have any comments about 12 before we move on?
Yeah, I have comments.
What's
I
up?
think 12 is great. I don't know. I think the cast is so fun. Like, was it predictable? I know the best seasons have like 2 combative alliances, and like we didn't really get that. It was just like one side, kind of 1-4 running the house. But still, it's just like the characters on this season, the fights this season, like the strategy. I don't know. I think there is some, and honestly, I found the members of the brigade all likable. I thought Lane was very charming. Matt Hoffman, I thought was hilarious. Enzo is probably like, to me, top 3 funniest people to play Big Brother. And Hayden's a little boring, but he's the best Big Brother player of the 4. And so like I thought he was a very satisfactory winner. And I don't know. I think the cast in general, and just like to see them, like, I don't know, to see someone like to have a plan in the very beginning. Because what was it, day 2 when they formed the alliance?
Mm-hmm.
And to have it like be so successful, to me, it's just so impressive. And I enjoyed watching. I get why it's a little boring because you're like, oh, you just want the underdog to have a shot. But I don't know. And in the moment with Brittany, like it's just like, oh, what a tearjerker at the end. Like, how could you not cry? I don't know. I thought 12 was so fun. 12 was a great cast. You wish that there was like a side alliance to fight them a little bit, but I love 12.
Well, there you have it with 47 points. There's 12. So now we're going to start entering the top 10. I honestly think 11 was the end of this mid-tier season. Maybe the next one could be in that, but I feel like there's going to be some strong opinions. So I might as well just get into it. Number 10 with 50 points. It could be a shock to some people, not me really. It is Big Brother 2. And BB2, let's see how everyone ranked it. So Lavina, you put 2 at 6. Sarah, you put 2 at 8. Derek, you put 2 at 16. And then I put 2 at I put it pretty low too. I put it at 12. So I mean, Derek, why so low?
I mean, I guess it's similar to what we were saying about Big Brother 1. It was before. I mean, it's Big Brother, but it's for Big Brother became Big Brother. It's not the Big Brother we have today. They had just an HOH into, I believe. Mm-hmm. So that's all they had. So it was more of a, which I love when it's a lot of strategy overcomes. So don't get me wrong, but I have it at 16. I just saw more from other seasons than I did too. I do like Will. But nah.
Wait, real quick. Someone just said, I need whatever Derek is on.
Good gas, baby. All gas, no breaks.
Josh said BB2 is the top 3 season. So I mean, Lavina, I think you put it the highest out of everyone. What is your opinions on 2?
Legacy again, like Dr. Will was like, didn't he like not sit? First off, he didn't win a competition. Second of all, didn't he not sit on the block one time? Or no, wait, did he?
No, he was never nominated.
No.
Okay, yeah. So, and he didn't even need to win a competition. So to me, that's just completely dominant. Like I actually recently was on a plane and I was listening to a podcast, and it was Dan Giesling talking to Taron Armstrong, and he was telling him how he had watched Dr. Will in Big Brother 2, and that's when he decided that he would apply, like later down the road when he got old enough, that he would apply for the show. And the way that he was describing it was like he would be around fights, but he would never get dragged into the fight. And like, to me, that's like something that is just so hard to do, because if you're around a fight, like I feel like you would either, no, I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I just feel like I would somehow get involved. Maybe that's my personality. I don't know. But like, I just find that to be so impressive. And that's why Dr. Will is a top 2 winner for me. But I think Josh just said that Dr. Will was on the block like 5 times. So who am I mistaking that for? Oh,
You're thinking
Derek.
you're thinking of a completely. Yeah, I was just about to say, wait a minute.
I don't know why I like Dr. Will. Oh no, he never won comps. But
I had to
Didn't win
search
a comp.
it up.
yeah.
I had to
Got
search
you.
it out real quick. I'm like, wait a minute, am I wrong? I was like,
Yeah, he was
um,
real quick. Another thing for me with season 2 is I feel like Monica was like robbed. Like she deserved. I feel like she played such a game and got there and just like quack for her, you know. But yeah, so.
I mean, she almost made it to All Stars too, so I think that's
Yeah.
like a big thing for her. Like, real quick, like I know some of the bigger characters. I mean, you got like I know Boogie was on here, but he wasn't really like a big character. But like it was more like Will and Monica and Bunky, Ken, and people like that. But I think the reason because I put it at 12, the thing that hurts too, I think it's that the longer Big Brother goes on, I think it just doesn't age as well, specifically in like the competition aspect, which I didn't think I would care about so much, but it kind of plays a factor. I remember there was like this whole competition when they had to like toss CDs and bowls and stuff, right? But it's just like Big Brother 2 is just so old, and it's kind of hard to watch today.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't really refer someone like to go all the way back. Like I would consider referring someone to a 3, but not really like a 2 because I would get bored, and I think 2 could possibly put people off on watching the season at a later time. So I don't think it has a lot of replay ability. That's why it's a little bit lower, but it doesn't take anything away from the season. And I think a big reason that people even talk about 2 is because of Will. So, you know, I think Will carries a lot of the season. Sarah, what's your opinions on 2?
Yeah, I think maybe it's kind of like 5 for me in the same way, where it just was groundbreaking. Like to go from a season that was not even Big Brother, to like really establish what Big Brother will become and just kind of set the groundwork for it. And I just think that's incredible because so many people that play like have to be inspired by other players to be the players they are today. But the fact these people kind of came in cold turkey and just created such a compelling season, I don't know, I think it's just really impressive. And Dr. Will just like is just incredible.
Will's Will.
Of a player. Yeah, exactly.
I agree.
Also, oh, sorry.
No, you're real quick. So what Sarah was saying about that is I think that Big Brother 2 was actually the first time we was introduced to any style of, I guess, power competitions in Big Brother. Because if you look at the international ones, those are all just like Big Brother 1 is, you know, outside of Big Brother Canada that we got recently. But everything else was all, you know, social strategy and trying to get the public to like you versus in BB2. Was there a jury for BB2? Do we remember that? Like, it wasn't audience vote. Like they voted for, there was a jury, I believe.
Yeah.
They still went home for that. So, yeah, that was the first time we got like those power comps where you have to like, you know, you could pretty much guarantee yourself to stay in the house if you don't have the power comp. And then when you're not having America's vote anymore either. So that changed it around too. So I agree with the groundbreaking part. Like it changed the game.
Okay. Yeah, and I was just going to say the toothbrush thing with Shannon needs to be addressed. So we should bring that up.
Go for it.
No, just to acknowledge it, like it happened. Like was it Hardy's toothbrush? I don't even remember who. But she grabbed someone's toothbrush and was just pissed at them. And she dunked it right in the toilet. And Mike Boogie and Dr. Will were watching and laughing about it. And then and then she put it right back, by the way, so that the person would use it. I don't know. I don't remember who it was. Maybe it was, I don't know if it was Hardy, but yeah. And then she got confronted by production and she was made to apologize and tell him. And I remember the apology in the DR. Also, I want to address the DRs, how I do miss this era of DRs, how like natural they were. I mean, I'm sure I'm like surprised we haven't even touched on that. Like in the older seasons, the DRs are so natural, you know, like multiple people would chill in there together and they would like tell stories together. Like it was just so much fun to watch.
It seemed more, I agree. It seemed more natural because it didn't look like we had, like now you can tell they're in like a set, like they're in a production set versus back then they were just chilling like us, like just in their homes. Like it looked like they were just in their homes, like in a room, just chilling.
Literally like you right now.
Yeah, chilling. Another thing I was going to say real quick, it don't get talked about either is, I believe this is Big Brother 2. I could be wrong, but the knife situation, wasn't that Big Brother?
Oh,
yes.
Oh my God.
Names, I'm not good with the names, but Anybody remember his name?
I can look it up.
Justin. It was Justin.
There you go.
And I don't remember the female's name, but he held a knife to her
Mhm.
neck. And it was like after midnight, and it was the cameras were all on, but the lights were off, so they were like using like this lens to see it. But like hold a knife to her neck, they end up like taking him out. If anything's are crazy that season, from the toothbrush to the knife, it was just.
It was something. I mean, you know what? And Lavina, I just wanted to say, I mean, yeah, there's natural confessionals, but like, you're going to miss like the people saying at the beginning of every comp, like, oh, I go to the backyard, and then we do like, that's what CBS wants to do now.
You can literally tell when they're like, oh, hey, can you say that again? But like spunkier, like you can tell. Like I don't know. Ugh.
Oh my god! All right, well, that was the first addition to the top 10. So that's Big Bitty 2. Like I said, 50 points, like literally 50. Going in at number 10. So number 9, Sarah. Can you guess what number 9 is? I think I think Big Brother 2 is the beginning of like this upper echelon thing before we get to the classics. But where do you think number 9 is?
There's one of them that I might have skewed, so I don't know if it's that one. I'll go with 4 though.
Wrong. Lavina.
20.
Wrong. Derek.
Let's say, is it 17?
All of you are wrong. It is actually, shockingly, Big Brother 8. So what? Big Brother 8 with 54 points is number 9. I'll tell you how it got there. So Lavina, you put it at 5. Sarah, you put it at 15. Derek put it at 12, and I put it at 6. So it's really because of Sarah and Derek. But Sarah, you're the lowest on it. Explain.
Yeah, I knew this might happen because I was looking at the rankings. I was like, "Ooh, everyone in my low has gone except for 8." I was like, "I'm gonna ruin this for everyone." I hate season 8. I think season 8, it gets too much hype. I think I also do not like Evil Dick as a human, which I think really skews it for me. I think he is a bully. I think he was mean to people for no reason. I think if you have to use bullying as a strategy, I just think that there's better ways to go about it. And I don't know. And also, I think, once again, I think it's been apparent that I don't really like too much production interference. And I think Team America with Eric, I think is just riggery.
America's Player.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now, Lavina, you're the highest on it. Opinions.
I love season 8, but I do agree with Sarah. I don't like Evil Dick as not even like how he is now. It's just both, like how he acted on the season and now. Like I'm not a fan on Twitter. Like it's just the same kind of behavior that he exhibited in the house. Like there was no reason for him to dump what was it, tea or whatever on Jen? Didn't he like put out cigarette on her arm?
Yeah.
Am I making that up?
Because she hit a cigarette to he burned. It was a lot. Yeah.
Like he was after her from the jump for bizarre reasons. And another thing too, speaking of America's Player is what it was called. America's Player for Eric, like we got like robbed of watching Eric play. Like I love Eric Stein. Like I wish that he had been on All Stars. Like you know, I just feel like I don't know. I just didn't. Even he got sick of it. I don't know if he's ever talked about it like outside of the show or anything. Probably, but I feel like you could tell he would like as the days went on, he would get more and more sick of not being able to play his own game. And he typically didn't even agree with whatever was said on the envelope. So yeah, I don't like that. But the stuff that I do like, I love Jen. I think that she's one of the most like captivating characters they've ever cast. And it's not because like, oh, she's ditzy or whatever. She was really not that ditzy. Like I feel like she was putting on a front. But you know, I think I just enjoyed the drama aside from the personal stuff with Evil Dick and Jen primarily. But besides that, I do think that the story between, an estranged father-daughter is touching. You could tell that production did want to push this the most, because why the hell wouldn't they? It's like another Project DNA kind of situation. And as we were talking about for season 5, like that's like the main thing that we do remember from season 5. So of course production was interested in pushing that more, but it's a great story. And for the I think it was part 3 of the final HOH, when it was Zach and Dick left. I don't know if it was editing, the power of editing, but like that was a really touching moment too, when he, was exhausted and Danielle was like, "You can fall, Dad, like you're fine." And it was just a really touching moment. And the DRs were again very natural, and you could tell that he loves his daughter and he wanted to reconcile. Now I don't know what happened after that and what's going on now, but from what I could see as a fan, I enjoyed it.
I will say, so the production interference, like I said earlier with I forget whatever season, but this will be an all-time low when it comes to production, because I think a lot of their twists failed. Like we said, Team America, America's Player completely failed. I think this whole thing of trying to bring people with like vendettas against each other, other than like Dick and Danielle, the other ones completely like flopped. Like they were out super early. Honestly, this is like the 3rd time they tried it. At this point, they did it in 5, and no, they did it in 4, technically 5. They just did it too many times, and I think this is when it kind of burnt out. And at the time, I was like, okay, I mean, Dick's all right, but like his legacy really kind of like screwed on me, specifically with like a lot of the Twitter stuff. With that being said, Jen is so entertaining. Yeah, I think she's a mess, but it's so funny. Eric, amazing player. I can never rank him on like my best players never to win, because we never really got to see him play. But I think if he did, he's an easy candidate for like the winner of this season. Even I mean, you got Jessica. Jessica was a very fun character. I didn't care for Danielle too much here. I think this is one of her weaker points. She kind of seemed like a brat. I'm not gonna lie, she kind of seemed like a brat here. But I mean, even oh my god, what was her name? Amber. Oh, she cried like every 5 seconds. It's like half of this cast is like very hit or miss. There was like some cool factors, but then some like and I think production really set it back. But the reason why it's this high is not even for strategy. I think the entertainment was there though. Organic or not, forced or not, it was there and it kept me here. It was more entertaining than like a 9. So like I'll give it that. And I think it's one of the more captivating ones where you're like, just the dynamic between Dick and Danielle. Like I've never seen something like that before. Like you got this huge rocker guy, then you got like this blonde girl. It's like what happened there, So that's my opinions on that season. I can see why it's this low. I can also see why it could be higher. There you go. Does anyone else have anything to say about this, or we can move on? So next,
quick
go for it.
question. So for season 4, was everybody partnered? I know we're not got there, but I'm just going to reference this season and that season. Everybody came in and with a duo last season.
Everybody, not everybody. A lot of people came in with exes.
Yeah, because they brought them in and they said they were pretty much saying like if you might see something, Anyway, so my point I was going to make it is if we look back to that season and this season, and we said that you said, it never worked out for them. Well, it didn't work out too well because they all like left early. But we got June that won because I believe June had her ex-boyfriend, I think. Yeah. Boyfriend, and then Dick won. So I mean, it turns out coming in with a partner, I mean, I don't know, I'm not gonna say it betters your chances, but we've seen Dick win with it and we've seen June win with it as well. I can't remember outside of those two since we're on those two, but that's all I can think just in that moment.
I mean, the history is actually really good too, because you got Chrissy and Tommy both made jury. You got Liz and Julia both made jury or finalists. I'm sure there's other family things I'm missing, but like there's good track record when people who know each other come in the game, because you just know that. Holly and Catherine, technically they both made jury.
Yeah, you got Rachel. Yeah, because Brendan came in 13 as well. Yeah, so you got Rachel in 13. So
yeah, it if you know someone, you're going to do relatively well. But with that being said, I mean, we might as well talk about it because you hit it on the nose. 8 is BB4. And that one had 57 points. Lavina, you put BB4 at 7. Sarah, you put BB4 at, where did you put? 10. Derek put BB4 at 7. I put BB4 at 11. So, I mean, both, 2-2, like around the same area. Lavina, what's your opinions on BB4 here?
I love it. I think we got first of all, very powerful women played in this season. We got June and why is her name slipping my brain?
Allison?
Yeah.
Allison. Oh my God. Wow. I just said we have 2 powerful women. I forgot her name. Yes, we have had them as our final 2. June as an incredible winner. They both beautifully created a strategy of the actual floating strategy, because I feel like a huge pet peeve of mine is Big Brother fans that say, well, she's floating and it's like a bad thing now, like it's got a negative connotation, whereas in the past of what it really means is you're just floating to where the power is, and it's your strategy, and it's an extremely difficult strategy to get away with. So that's why I think that June's win is so iconic. And also, let's talk about how we had a woman of color win a season. Like, that's incredible. That aside, people don't really know the difference between floating and coasting, I think is just what it's called. But yeah, we got some really cool moments from the season. I feel like the X Factor was pretty compelling. I forgot the couple's name where the guy was throwing the chairs and stuff because he was so upset.
What's his name?
We've gone through so many house guests and my brain is like fried.
Yeah. I know you're talking about though.
Yeah. And maybe the chat can tell us. But yeah, that I just found it really compelling. I thought that G and June's
Scott was his name.
Scott, yeah. I found like June and G's, they obviously had like not the greatest breakup in the world from what they were describing. And I think that it was cool how they like worked together kind of like on the low. I just found it a very compelling season, and that's why I ranked it decently high.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How about you, Sarah?
Yeah, and just to kind of touch on that too, I think who wins a season and how a season ends is really important to me, and like how I rank a season. And I think, for me at least, I think June and Allison were the 2 strongest players in the house. And so to have, like, in my eyes, the 2 strongest people get to final 2 is so rare. And so to see it happen was just really great for me, like a really great finale.
I personally think time has helped 4 and 5 specifically, but specifically 4. And I think just like how Will carries 2, I think Allison and June carry 4. And I think honestly, like I said, time has helped the opinion on the season go higher, because I think people would have put this in like that mid-range place. Because honestly, other than those 2 and like maybe like Erica and G, is there really like a lot of memorable people in this cast? I don't think so. And there's not a lot of moments in the season, but just those 2, they were very fun people to follow through, and I liked watching them. But yeah, it's not that fun to watch. It's fun on the first time, but I'm never going to advise someone like, oh, you need to watch Big Brother 4, because it's there. It's that's just my opinion. Derek, do you have any strong opinions on the season?
I liked 4. 4 was, I think, 7. You said for me,
yeah.
I have 4 and 7. I like 4. I like June. I respect the game that June played. I agree with Lavina. People need to learn. I feel like there's a lot of Big Brother terms that are kind of taking a plummet, and but I do feel like what June did was a true flow strategy. It was going from power to power. It wasn't just she didn't like. She put a different meaning on just existing in the game, because she didn't win things, but she made sure she was safe. She had those relationships to say she went from from power to power to power, and she did what she had to do. And it wasn't a coasting game. Allison as well. Allison, I don't want Allison's game to get looked down on, because Allison played a pretty good game as well. Just sitting next to June. Somebody had to win it, but I think 4 was a good season. It's ranked. I think it's a deserved ranking right now, and yeah.
All right.
Wait, I have one more thing. Sorry, it just came to my brain. Wasn't this the first season that two people like in the house
yes,
ever?
yes.
Knowingly, yes.
That was like a thing, right?
That we're aware. That we're aware of. Yeah.
Trivia.
So
Yeah, because was it Allison who used her sexuality? She was kind of like the first woman to do that, right? Was that
well,
Allison?
she didn't bonk, but yeah.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, but just like to save herself.
She did, yeah.
another
So,
Yeah.
Big Brother. Dick was not the only person to enter the house with an STD. Scott, the guy Scott, the one on this season that was kicked out after they found out that he also was in there.
Wow,
That is so
Scott,
good.
what a great thing to be remembered by, Scott.
Oh my god.
Two great things.
Literally two great things.
1 in 4, guys. 1 in 4. It happens to.
So next is number 7. Derek, what do you think number 7 is on our list?
Is it? Are we at 17 yet?
No.
17 or 3?
Nope. What about you, Lavina?
20.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
20. So listen, I think 20 is one of the better modern day seasons, and if it didn't have such a slow ending, I think it could have been in like a top 5. But the second half of the season brings it down so much. It's so boring to watch live. Nothing was working for it. But the first half of the season, oh my god, I was like, I got Big Brother back. I was like, this is crazy. Like blind sides every week. You got Falte or the Hive, whatever they call themselves, like Falte versus like level 6. You got Sam walking around as like a robot. You got Caitlyn acting like a complete maniac. It was such a fun season. And honestly, I mean, just on a personal side, before I hit this, it felt like they were kind of like fitting a stereotype when they were casting like black people, and it was like the heavily religious or you know, something like that, where here we kind of got like Bailey and Swaggy, or I call him Chris, but you know, I'll call him Swaggy here, and it's like it was like a breath of fresh air almost. I was like, oh, finally, like it's not like a stereotypical like black person.
I agree.
You know,
I agree so much. I don't cut you off, but when I seen Swaggy, because Bailey, I'm like, yeah, you know, beautiful woman, but when I saw Swaggy, I'm like, that's it, you know, because like you said, it's always people like a Kevin or just religious, super religious, and just like a Bible, just like people like that. But when I saw Swaggy, I'm like, that's it. A man from the hood is not afraid to say it how it is, like he don't care. Like I was so happy to see, that character, you know. So yes,
yeah,
it changes things. Like it changes dynamics, and I feel like we should get more of that. So yes.
But this was a great cast, honestly. I mean, we can talk about some of them outside of it, like Fessy and JC, and the list goes on. But in the house, you know, it was fun, and I think Casey and Tyler were really good final 2 at the time. I mean, you know, time passing, I don't know how people feel about that anymore, but at the time, it was really split. Like everyone thought that both Casey and Tyler deserved it. Even level 6, to me, they were always level 4 because I always looked at Angela, Tyler, Casey, and Brett as like that core. But I mean, level 6, I'll call them that. They were honestly like the second best alliance, in my opinion, to play the game. I thought they had a masterful job, and I mean, even like the other side characters, like Rockstar, like her daughter's birthday, that was so funny. You got Angela, she was like the ice queen, like she came out of nowhere. I was like, oh my god. Even oh my gosh, what's her name? Even Caitlyn, like Caitlyn with the puzzle, Caitlyn with Tyler and Fessy. Caitlyn was just crazy, but it was, you know, at the time it was really fun, and I thought Haley should have been brought back by now, but you know, we'll get to that. But Lavina, what's your opinion on 20?
Yeah, Haley and Brett. Like at first I was like, Brett with Winston, I was like, okay, we've seen it, we get it, the bros, okay, cool. But then when Winston left, I was like, okay, first off, Brett's hilarious. Second of all, Brett has good gameplay, and he was willing to cut his own alliance. And granted, they got to him first, which by the way, like obviously that was the end game, and that's part of like, I mean, yeah, it was fun and compelling, but like the whole like what did they say? Like, I'll stab you in the, what did they say? Oh, 2 steps ahead. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, this is very cringe. Like, this is representative of the final, like, the final weeks, you know, that we just didn't like. But it's really funny. The thing with Big Brother 20 is towards, like I said, the final weeks and the second half of the season, I was just getting kind of like fed up with level 6, which in, I guess, the same breath, I was fed up with Tyler. So when we got to the final 2, I was like, who am I less like annoyed with at a personal level? Because you know how like by the end of the season, you're just so burnt out, like 90 freaking days of this. I was like, dude, I'm rooting for Casey. Like, I want Casey to win. But then as soon as Julie pulled out that final key, I was pissed. Like, I didn't
Yeah.
realize that I would be that upset about it. I texted my sister. I was like, dude, what is this? And she's like, I saw the spoiler, so I haven't even watched the finale. Like, I distinctly remember that. I'm still, like you said, I don't know how you guys feel about it now. I'm still like upset about that. And that's why I was so pumped when he was back for All Stars. We saw how that ended and how his, you know, saga went. But yeah, I just feel like he was really, really robbed. So, but granted, you don't tell somebody, I don't need your vote in jury the way that he told
Yeah.
Bailey. So like, that's a whole separate story, but yeah.
I will say, and then I'll let Sarah go. I think this season also did really good because production failed a lot. If you think about it, almost every single twist that they came out with in that one, the BB App Store or something, whatever they called it, those all flopped. I'm so glad they did. I think the Casey puzzle flopped. I'm glad that flopped. Honestly, production like tried to make this a bad season in my opinion. Like even with the hacker comp came out like the worst possible time, or like bringing Scotty back. It's like production, in my opinion, was a big reason why like this isn't like a good season. Like I think it ruined a lot of the momentum, and even with like the challenges, like they did a lot more physical comps this time around, and it kind of like helped people like Casey get to the end. Where I don't think if she makes it that far without like these big physical competitions that her, Angela, and Tyler completely dominated the rest of the season with. I'll never even forget like JC winning that one Final Four competition when he was about to go. Like I thought that was crazy, even though I hate JC. But anyway, you know, the production I think shot itself in the foot, and I think they're slowly learning their lesson. But I mean, not really, because 21 happened, so it's just like production, you need to stop. But Sarah, what's your opinion on 20 before we move on?
Yeah, 20. I think 20. Not that like I wasn't in love with Big Brother still, but 20. Like I don't think I've ever spent more time on live feeds than I did with Big Brother 20. I just loved the cast so much. Like I loved Haley. I would say the hacker twist was, in my eyes, like one of the biggest, like top 5 production fails of any Big Brother season. I think the fact that Rockstar went home on her alliance's HOH that should never happen in Big Brother. But yeah, the way the season started, like I just remembered, I don't know if you guys remembered, like, do you remember Twitter? Like the fact that there were 2 major alliances, which always makes a good season, and the fact that there were so many stands on both sides. Like, has that ever happened in another season?
Where
Yeah,
on Twitter,
where people are rooting for both sides?
The closest I've seen to that,
That's it.
I would say Big Brother Over the Top.
Yeah.
oh
Big
yeah,
Brother Over the Top was very like back and forth between the eyeballs and the whatever they were called, the plastics or whatever. But yeah, Stan Wars was crazy, man. During 20, like I mean, they're still alive to this day. Like even like All Stars, they started resurfacing like the Swaley fan versus the Tangela fan. Oh my god, the fandom from 20 is so toxic. But I mean, it's warranted. It was a good season. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, and I do think it just sucks because the first half is, to me, a Big Brother 20 was going to be like a top 3 season for me.
Oh yeah,
but just like how it ended, which I don't know. I kind of blame, not that I blame it on Angela. I blame it on Tyler falling in love. I guess you can't blame the kid. But if he didn't fall in love, I think it would have been.
I wasn't rooting for Tyler, but like I could understand he was playing a great game, and it just sucked to see him have such a dominant start, and then he just like took his foot off the gas pedal at the second half. It's just like he didn't care. And ever since that, like that carried over to All Stars too. Like you just tell, like he came in as like the Big Brother super fan, and then it felt like he just didn't watch Big Brother after. Like I was like, what's going on here? You know. Sucks to see it, but you know,
Like
it is what it is.
Tyler in the first half would say something to Caitlin, warp her brain. She would walk out of the room like with a completely different opinion, and he would look at the cameras and like make a face. And I was like, villain. Like I love a villain who admits they're a villain. You know, like you gotta like own
Bailey
up to your
too.
villain behavior. Yeah.
He completely like mind finessed like Bailey too. Like he was a great player. You know, it just sucks.
I think for me, my biggest this is off, but my biggest thing with Tyler is he just doesn't own enough of it, what he does. Like he like you said, he'll do like those little shady things, but then when it's time to own that, like it just doesn't happen. And I get you're playing a game, but there are times where you can own shit that you do, and I feel like he lacks that a lot. So.
Yeah,
Okay.
just that's like where Nicole Franzel lacks for me too.
Yeah.
I think it's the same thing because she's a villain and she just won't admit it. Like admit it, honey, own it. You're okay.
Yep.
So there you go. So we're gonna move to number 6. I think the rest of the season. You know what? Maybe when we get to top 4, those are like the classics. But you know what? We'll see. Sarah, what do you think number 6 is?
3.
You are correct. With 67 points, we have Big Brother 3. Shocking, but not really. I thought it would be around this area. Big Brother 3 for Lavina was at 8. For Sarah, it was at 7. Derek, you put it at 6, and I put it at 4. So you know it rounded out correctly. So Derek, what's your opinions on Big Brother 3 here?
So this is where we're coming into Big Brother, y'all. And that's what I was saying about 1 and 2. It's just like when you get into Big Brother 3, you got everything about Big Brother that you would see into this day, except then we got a more raw feel of Big Brother. The confessionals were still raw as hell. I still remember the confessionals looking like them just chilling at home. The one thing I will say about this season is the only negative thing I have to say about this season, because I just think it was a good season overall. The veto was introduced this season and all that. The one negative I have is the jury not being locked in. Like that is the only negative thing I have to say about it. Other than that, I love the season. I thought it was a great season. I thought the characters were great. I thought the gameplay was there. Fucking Danielle Reyes, like such an icon, queen legend, doing everything she needed to do. It's just that damn jury not being locked down, I think ruined it for me. That's why I put it, where I put it.
And I can't not wait one day to do the Best Players Never to Win podcast, because she is up there, but I'm not going to spoil. But before I get into it, Lavina, how you feel about it?
Derek took every single word out of my mouth. Like, I think that, do you guys remember how I said I don't really have like a third winner, like I have a top 2? If Danielle had won, she would be actually, I was going to say third, but like, I don't know. Like, honestly, like it'd be like some kind of thing of Dr. Will, Dan, and Danielle, like period. And she was completely robbed. That's the one down point of the season, like Derek said. I really can't say anything else bad about it. Like I love Jason. I really can't say anything else about it.
How about you, Sarah?
Yeah, I think we're in agreement. I think just like how Big Brother 4, the final 2 really, and the winner like up the season for me. I think for this, it's the flaw of the season is the winner, which not to like bash Lisa, right? Lisa.
Yeah.
But still, it's just like it's not who should have won. And it's just so disappointing. Was Danielle asked for All Stars? Was she asked?
Yeah, she played in it.
I mean 22.
Oh, I think she was reached out, but she said no.
Yeah, but she's declining. Yeah.
Too bad.
Yeah, like honestly, like 4 was such a great experience for me, and it's like I think Danielle Reyes for entertainment, she gave us everything that we needed. Strategy wise, I can see why some people saying like, yeah, I get why she didn't win, and I'm in that camp. I get why she didn't win because she knew that they were going to see the clips and stuff, but she still did what she needed to do. I don't care about that. I still love her.
Yeah, she was like I said, they should have respected that. Y'all all went there for that same reason. So
and I think I love seeing her play. I thought Jason Guy, another fantastic player, another one of the best never to win. Lisa, I get why she won. I I'm not Team Lisa, but I get it. And she's a good player. Even like Marcellus with the veto, and he should have played on himself, and he did. I was like, "What are you doing?" He
Oh my
said,
God.
"Jason said, sorry, you should have played the veto." I was like, I'm sick. This was such a fun game, and it was such a fun cast, and I enjoyed Big Brother 4. I think the more we're moving along with time, I think it stands the test against time. I think it's still a very watchable season, and I hope people watch if you haven't seen it yet. But there you go. So we're going to move to our top 5. I am personally shocked this is here. I know why it's here. Derek, do you know what number 5 is? I think you know what it is.
If it's 10, I am going to scream.
No, it's not 10.
Is someone even saying the whole time?
Oh, 17.
Yeah, it's a 17. It's a 17.
I was like, wait a minute, what? It better not.
So 17 has 70 points. I was shocked that it got this many points, but you know what? I thought I was alone with the 17 love. I get it.
It's 5.
Yeah, it's 5. I was shocked that it got that high, but I'm like, okay. So let me see. So Lavina, you put 17 at 9.
Yeah.
Sarah, you put 17 at 2. Derek, you put 17 at 3. And then I put 17 at 8. So me and Lavina are in the same camp. Sarah and Derek are not, and that's fine. Derek and Sarah, what's up with the 17 love here?
So I said it earlier, and I'll say it again. I felt like, 17 lacked flavor. They sure did. But they gave us a house dynamic that I can respect. Like the game that they played, like they had a good game. You had characters like Johnny Mac who yelled a lot. You had Vanessa who played that. Vanessa, I'm not a Vanessa fan by any means, but she played the hell out of that game. Like if anybody was robbed in true fashion in Final 3, it was Vanessa. You got Davon, who we learned to love over the course of the 2 weeks that she was there. You know, you had that first week where things were hitting the fan, as Davon said it with Audrey. You know, so I don't know. I feel like 17 had a lot of gameplay. I just feel like it lacked a lot of flavor. So I feel like maybe that's where it goes down for some people at, but I can respect gameplay, so that's why I see it. Yeah, I was going to compare it to 15, where I say I can respect gameplay, but I couldn't do the gameplay with 15. But I think y'all understand, like that's different, like that. Why I couldn't understand that gameplay, but I understand 17's gameplay, and I just feel like there were players, like even the dynamics. That, like I wasn't a fan of Austin, but even like the Austin the Liz thing that they had, like they were running shit, like they had things going their way a lot of the times. Like Vanessa was kick-ass player, like robbed as hell. 17 was an okay season, you know.
How are you, Sarah?
I love 17 so much. This is the hill I'll die on. I just feel like it's one of those seasons that I enjoyed it from start to finish, and that is so rare in a season. The pre-jury with Audrey, she's cracked, and then Davon just so good, and then the twins, the way the twins ran Austin, this guy who came into the house, be like, what does he say? He's Judas. I'm Judas. And then he was freaking whipped the whole show. Like, I love that. And Vanessa might be my favorite player to ever play. I did not watch live feeds this season. I don't know if that would taint it a bit, because I heard she was a little bit crying, a little too much on the live feed. So, but I didn't get that side. So I just get all the Vanessa love. I think she's so intelligent, so smart, so much gameplay, even from like Shelly and Clay with there was I just feel like everyone came to play this season, and I thought Steve was a fine winner. You know, obviously I wish it was Vanessa, but I don't know. And Liz is underrated too. I think Liz is great too. I think Liz deserved more credit. I don't think she probably didn't. She might. I don't know if she deserved. I don't know.
I just think we were just turned off more with the Liz and Austin thing.
You know, I think the cast. Well, all right. So 17 is weird because this is a season where social game does not exist. Like it's straight strategy and comps. But it's strategy times 10. Like I don't think you can point out a single player in this whole cast that has a good social game. They all suck at social game. But their strategies are so interesting. Like Austin's weird, but like it worked for him. And honestly, if Julia didn't make like one of the biggest mistakes in Big Brother history,
Oh,
I think
God.
Austin goes pretty far. You got the twins where they were characters. Like, okay, James on feeds was very. I like James in this season compared to 18. He was actually kind of funny. Becky was like Becky was like.
She was hit by a train.
Yeah, like she hit by a train. I'm like, what? Like, there's a lot of funny people here, and it's like, I love this season. I didn't expect her to get top 5, but I appreciate it. Like, I think the season, like, I'll never forget Vanessa convincing Julia to just put up Austin. I'm like, what are you doing? Or they made like the Dark Moon alliance with like the Jason side and all that, and completely tricked the other side. Like they were down to blindside Austin. They were like, never mind. And then like you just flipped back and like completely blindsided the other side. Shelly was cool. Jason for the time was cool.
We haven't even said Johnny Mac.
I was just about to say Johnny Mac with the screaming, and Steve honestly deserves it. I love Vanessa, but Steve deserved it. And this was a great season. I loved it. I understand. Lavina, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, and honestly, if you cut Vanessa, you deserve to win. Period. She was just one of those people that set the tone for the entire season. And like you mentioned, everybody, nearly everybody didn't have nobody had a social game. And I think that's because it felt like Vanessa set the freaking tone from the beginning. She was very strategic, not a great social player, obviously, but at the end of the day, like I said before, I really connect with the over-emotional players because I'm a very over-emotional person, but I think that she is just very compelling. And just like Sarah, I enjoyed the season from beginning to end. Also, we haven't mentioned the amazing race aspect of the season. I honestly did not love Jeff. I thought he was kind of creepy. I'll put him aside. I absolutely adore Jackie. I adored Jackie.
I agree.
And yeah, so I think that this season is my favorite modern season. Like Isaiah, I'm shocked that it was like top 5, but you know what? I'm not even going to argue with it because it's the best modern season. Like it's definitely over. If some people argue 20 is the best, modern 17. Season, but it is 17 in my opinion.
I agree. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to reference Josh's comment, but I was going to ask. Forget my comment.
Oh my god.
Repeat. Jace, what were you about to ask, Derek?
I forget what I was going to say. It was about 17, but
well, if you remember, just come back to it.
I did want to say one thing about Jeff. He had the most iconic title sequence dance of all time.
What was? I don't remember.
He just goes like this.
Oh my god!
Oh my god!
If you watch it back, it's incredible. He literally just does a weird like hand thing, but everyone else is like.
I can see it.
It's incredible. If you want to laugh, you should watch Jeff. Like, can you imagine production just being like, "Okay, Jeff, do you want to like do a little twerk, a little dance, a little like swimmy move?" He's like. I don't know.
He was weird. I was like, okay. I was like, who is this guy? I wish Jackie played again though. She would have been great.
Love Jackie.
She was social game. I feel like everyone loved Jackie. That's why she wins.
Yeah,
she had like the only socially likable person.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
I was just gonna say throwback to when Austin was so comfortable and felt so safe that we get barefooted.
Oh man!
Well, apparently, I read somewhere that because was that technically live?
So they didn't. It was a surprise elimination. Like they didn't expect it, but everyone still got dressed. He just went. He stayed in his pajamas. He didn't care.
He was staying.
So I heard that I think they went to commercial at some point because I read somewhere that he was like refusing to leave or something along those lines.
I have read that before. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't really know like how that worked. If it was, I don't remember the episode. Maybe there was a commercial, but like he like wasn't wanting to leave, and so they just finally were like, "Okay, you have to leave." And he just
that is so funny. You know what? That's exactly what you get. But there you go. So that's number 5. So we're gonna reach the last final 4. I think this is the classics. And I don't know, Sarah. Do you know what number 4 is?
Wait, Isaiah, what's left?
The options are 14, 10,
Seven,
7, or 6.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with 7.
You are wrong. Derek,
14.
you are correct. 14 is number 4, 2 points over 17. So 72 points here. Let's see where everyone ranked it. Lavina, you put 14 at number 3. Sarah, you put 14 at number 4. Derek, you put 14 at 8. And I put it at number 5. So before we get to Derek, Lavina, you put it highest. What is your opinion on 14?
I think 14 is the season I look back at and I'm like, this is the season. It wasn't my first, but it was the season that made me like heavily fall in love with Big Brother. Like and it's not even just, maybe it is just Dan. I really don't know what it is about the season. I don't love the coach's twist because it's kind of freaking obvious. Like, yeah, they're going to come back and play. They're not going to be there for like, 90 days as coach. No, that's not going to happen. But everything else was just like the most captivating TV I've ever seen. We've got Dan's funeral. We've got Shane's blindside. We've got just so many things that like those alone, like you can make a series out of like Dan's funeral alone. Like they had like, I don't know what, I'm not doing math right now, but there was like some anniversary of it that had come, and I forgot who had done the interviews for it. It was some kind of article they did. They interviewed every single person who was involved in Dan's funeral, and they had did they have a podcast version? I don't know.
Actually, I read this article too.
Yeah, I did this all. I watched it, but I don't remember.
Yeah. It was super compelling to read everybody's perspective. Like, people are still talking about it. I just think that season is, at least in my rankings, 3rd where it should be.
I know Joe and Jen City both said like, I wish that I voted differently. Yeah, Entertainment Weekly, they said in the chat.
Yeah, Dalton Ross gets the credit.
It was a good reading.
Okay.
Read it. But no, I agree with you. This season, well, first, the newbies, very weak. I'm not going to lie. The newbies side, very, very weak. But the returners really made this season amazing for me. The returners, and then, I mean, there are some good stars. Like Ian was very fun. Frank, for this season, I loved Frank because I like villains. And then even like Danielle got on my nerves, but like she, all right, whatever. But it was very fun. It was a lot of back and forth. I'm not going to lie. Controversial person, so I'm not going to talk too much about him. But Mike Boogie in this season, I liked him a lot, and I think if production didn't screw him over with the return button twist, like if one person presses it, of course whoever's about to go home is going to press it. But if they didn't screw him over, I think his team would have won because he was like dominating the season. Like none of his people, it was Jen, Ian, and Frank. None of them were leaving, and it, he got screwed over. But anyway. Dan just like runs the season, amazing player. And I mean, even Brittany, she was great. I thought Frank was very fun with his challenge beats. He sucked at everything else, but it was just so fun to see him and Boogie like go at Dan, even though it was because of Ian and all this stuff. It was just so crazy to watch, and I enjoyed it for what it was. Like, I mean, even Willie Hanson, don't like the guy, but I mean, pork rinds, like, really? You threw it at Janelle? Like, I was like, oh my God. And I mean, even Jody, like, robbed, but like, she still talked about to this day. Like, 14 has a lot of great moments, and I love it for what it is. Derek, how do you feel about it?
I like 14. 14's 8 on my list because obviously I had 7 other seasons that personally I thought were better, but I like 14 a lot. 14 was a good season. It's one of the more, I guess, seasons that I actually remember, like that I can remember a lot more of, I guess. That was I can remember Pandora's Box clear as day from that season. Before then, I, couldn't tell you what, really remember it, but I don't know. It was something about that season I enjoyed Dan that season. That was the season we got Dan's funeral. Unpopular, but I was young too, so don't just excuse me. But I was so into Danielle. Like I was everything about Danielle. It was just that woman character, y'all, just like there. And I know she wasn't doing much, but I was happy that she was going far in this game. Like I was just living for Miss Danielle. But I don't know. Ian won. I'm not going to say I agree with that decision, but I do think Ian played a good game. So the winner is justifiable. But Dan kicked ass, absolute king. Rob King. But 14 is a good season. It gets its flowers. It deserves the flowers. So yeah.
I will say they try to bring Danielle for All Stars too. So I mean, she said no and tried to have a lawsuit and all that stuff. But yeah, she got invited. But Sarah, what's your opinions on 14?
How do you have a lawsuit for being asked for All Stars?
She always been dramatic.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so I think I mentioned it like right when the podcast started, but 14 was my first season of Big Brother, and I think it's just a really special season to me. Like I think I mentioned earlier too, like I love Ian Terry. I was such a little nerd in high school, and I think Ian Terry was the first person I saw on TV that was like a nerd, but not like a gross nerd archetype. You know, like not like face full of acne with the glasses, you know what I mean? But instead was just very like quirky and charming. I loved him. And then like seeing someone like Janelle as like a young, unconfident girl in high school, I think was really impactful for me. And so I think just season 14, like as like a cast, was so special to me. But besides that, I think it was also really cool that I think a lot of times when there's returner seasons, the returners automatically band together and just kind of like pick everyone off. But what's really cool about this season is that the returners, like number ones, were not really each other, unless I'm wrong. Like I feel like Boogie and Ian were really tight. Dan and Danielle were really tight. And I think that created a really cool dynamic, whereas it's like, where's the house going to go? And just like Frank trying to get Frank out week after week and just having him keep pumping his way through. It's just, there was just a lot of entertaining moments. Or the comp mistake. What was it when like they cheated at the comp? I don't even know.
Oh my God, yeah.
It's just a lot of fun things. Besides Dan's funeral. And Dan's funeral, like we said, groundbreaking. To get yourself out of that, like who can do that? Who can do that? Like, see a player be able to manipulate a situation is just so incredible.
Fun fact, I will say, Cochran won the season of Survivor prior to this, so this was like the back-to-back seasons of like the nerds winning, Cochran and Ian. So I thought that was fun. But yeah, I mean, so there you go, season 14. So top three, Sarah.
I'll guess 7 again.
You are incorrect. Lavina.
Oh, sorry.
What? I'm like, whoa, 6, but
yeah, by 1 point, 73
that's
points.
Wild.
So 14 has 72, 6 has 73. And let's see where everyone ranked that. Lavina, you put 6 at number 2. Sarah, you put 6 at number 3. Derek, you put 6. Oh my God! At number 11,
Get this man off the podcast.
And I put 6 at 4. No, at 3. So is Derek.
So,
Derek, explain yourself.
Yeah, I'll go first on this one. I'm gonna be so honest, y'all. When I was thinking, I'm like, what the hell happened in 6? I could not remember one thing from 6 besides the winner. Even when we were talking about the winner, y'all see, I was like, what happened? I could not. But looking back, y'all, I now know it was Janelle Case, so like all those like good icons that we get from this season. 6 was that the season where we were introduced to the pressure cooker?
I don't know if
when they were
it was definitely iconic comp. It was
okay, yeah.
Hours.
Like they had a good So like that good moments in season. Honestly, it shouldn't be that low on my list because it shouldn't be lower than season 11. It should be a lot higher than that season. But yeah, it was a good season. I have it low on my list, so my ranking here doesn't really matter. But good season. I can give it the flower it deserves. Like I said, I remember the pressure cooker comp just from that season because it was an iconic moment that they had in that season. The characters that they had that season were good. Yeah. So that's my
out of curiosity, what's the highest you would have put it if you did move it?
The highest I would have put it, I would have probably putting it above. I would have put it at 5 because I would have had it above. I would have put it at 4. I would have had it above 18. So
5.
6 should be above 7. It should be above 7.
It would have got 1 point above number 2. So you can blame Derek. There's a 6 point difference. But no, if BB20 or BB12 doesn't have the best cast, I think Big Brother 6 definitely has the best cast like ever. Well, we got Janelle, we got Howie, we got Kaser, we got James, Yvette, Maggie. We got so many crazy people in this season, and oh my gosh, like even like the non-all stars were like stars to me. Like you got Bo, you got what's the one girl's name? Out. Oh my gosh, what
April.
April? Oh my.
Oh, why did I just get such a
Busto, I'm
vivid
sick.
image of that scene with her and the boy?
Busto, like
Yeah,
oh my
I
god.
was gonna say
Which
was
scene?
Ollie. That wasn't that season though, right?
Oh, you thinking of Ollie?
Yeah,
No,
you're
that
thinking of
was a
10.
different one.
Oh, that's
Um,
10.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. I'm mixing up seasons.
but oh my gosh, just so many.
No, Sarah, don't feel bad because when they said April, that was the first thing I thought of too, but different seasons.
I said April, my bad. But oh my gosh, so many characters in this cat. It was so good to see, honestly. The twist kind of flopped from the beginning, but I mean, just because of who they were, it was crazy. Like it's just crazy to see Maggie turn like this cult of oh my gosh, Cappy, the cult of Cappy, and then everyone just like follow after Maggie with no question. Like honestly, Yvette got robbed because they were like, Yvette, if you eliminate Maggie for Janelle, like we're not voting you to win. We're going to all vote Janelle. So like Yvette wasn't winning no matter what. But it like she really got screwed over. But no, Maggie just had such an iron grip on the game, and honestly, I think she's one of the better winners. I know she kind of disappeared from the world of Big Brother, but like her game was so dominant. It was so fun to watch. And oh my gosh, Janelle, amazing! Like her fighting Bo and all this stuff, and then you got Howie and April like calling like Busto, and even James, like he was a fun underdog. And I hated the friendship, but I still like. Oh my gosh, it's like everyone in this season just had personality. It was so fun to watch for me. Kaiser, amazing. I love Kaiser. Not a good player, still not a good player. Amazing character. Just this cast was stacked and awesome. But Lavina, how do you feel about this cast? Or this season, sorry.
Yeah, so I like tossed and turned between making this my number one, but then I was like, okay, I just can't. Like, we know what number one is. All that aside, though, I should probably mention this because this is like actually very important to me. This is like the first time you like at least Americans would see like a Middle Eastern reality star, I guess you would call it, reality house guest person. And you know, especially at that around this time, it's important to see that. And you know, like, and it sucks to say this, but like normalize like a Muslim house guest, like that's very important. And he was very much loved by America, and I think that was just very important to me and like my community and stuff. So anyways, just wanted to add that. But anyways, so yeah, I think that this season, I'm a big fan of team versus team gameplay. I don't know if that's a very popular thing, but like, I mean, we've all played like orgs in here, like I guess. And I was a big fan of like, you know, like group versus group gameplay. And I got to play that like a couple of times. So I think that was really fun to watch. I like how loyal they were to one another. So that was really fun. But obviously, like I was not a fan of watching the Friendship Alliance, but I do think that Maggie's win is top tier. I would probably rank her like potentially top 5 winners. I don't want to get cyberbullied, but like I just feel like she like mind warped those people like to do like they were like her like minions, honestly. Like they would just do whatever she said. And you know, down to the line, Yvette was not going to win. And that's a very powerful thing. Like, hey, you're not going to turn on our leader. Like, if you do, we're not going to vote for you. Like, that's extremely, extremely powerful and definitely doesn't happen by accident. So Maggie should definitely get her flowers. I know that she, like we said, she's not really around. She may have said some off-color things. I mean, probably more than off-color, like, because James had told them that there's no cameras in the HOH room, and he like completely lied and made that up, and they believed him. So they were just saying things like, I don't really like want to repeat stuff, but yeah,
like
it wasn't
sucks for taking Janelle.
It wasn't the greatest stuff. Oh, speaking of that, when she got the phone call home, when Janelle got the phone call home,
God,
and I post that video like every couple months where she's like, did Britney Spears have her baby yet? And they're just disgusted by that. Iconic.
Real quick, I'll say I wish they brought the twist back where they had the secret room and someone could just like spy. Like I thought that was so good. Like they
Yeah.
need to bring that back, the secret room twist. I wanted that for All Stars, but we didn't get it. But Sarah, what's your opinions on this? Because you seem shocked.
I seem shocked. I just think it's so funny. It's just such a good season all around. Like there's the two. I love A Divided House. The Janelacy was strong on this season, and yeah, I wish it was Janelle that won, obviously, but Maggie deserved it. So yeah, I don't know if I have much to add besides just a top tier season all around. Such a good one.
I will say minus 22. It's interesting that all seasons that Janelle's participated in is in the top 4. Just saying. So take it as you will. But there you go. I feel like you guys know what number 2 is. Am I wrong?
7.
Yeah. So with 79 points is number 2. So Lavina, you put 7 at 4. Sarah, you put 7 at 6. Derek put 7 at 2. I put 7 at 1. And I'm gonna tell you why. I am a huge fan of Big Brother All Stars because I think All Stars just has like there's no misses with this cast. Like this is what a true All-Star season is. I thought, first of all, the duo of Chilltown, so hilarious to watch. And like I had such a fun time rooting for the villains here. Their diary rooms, amazing. Like they are this season. And I loved watching Boogie and Will like operate. And on top of that, like I loved seeing Danielle finally get a chance to play again, but like not be like unhappy. Like she seemed like she had a fun time. Even seeing some of the Big Brother 6 people, as we're talking about all these prior seasons, we're starting to point out specific people. A lot of these people were on All Stars, and I just love seeing them play again at a high caliber of gameplay as well. Even Chicken George was so funny. This dude shaved his head and burned all his clothes to win veto when he didn't need it. I'm like, what are you doing? But like it was so funny. Like I don't know. It just Boogie and Will, like they both have docuseries on every single scene that has them in All Stars, and I just watch it over and over and over again because it was so good. Like watching them make Chilltown with Danielle, and then the Legion of Doom, and then make Operation Double Date, and then make a sub deal with like Howie and Janelle, and like they just kept burning everyone, and you're like, why are people not taking out Chilltown? But it was just so crazy to watch. And even Jace versus Marcellus, like that was crazy. Like I'm gonna be going on for a while, so I'm gonna stop. But All Stars was amazing. Oh, I remember they had a competition where they brought Survivor people in, and like All Stars was just so fun for me. I had such a fun time with it. But that's just me. Sarah, how do you feel about All Stars?
Yeah, I think All Stars, of course, is a great season. Like it's in my top 10. I think every season in the top 10 is great, to be honest. But I don't know. This might be one for me that just didn't quite age well a little bit. I think the fact that, like, I think you said, like, the season does surround so much by Boogie and Dr. Will, and for me, like, the Boogie stuff is just kind of tainted it a bit for me. So I think that's why it went a little lower. But I get it. I get why it's high. I understand.
We don't support Bike Boogie over here. Anyway, Lavina, what's your opinions on All Stars?
Yeah, I think it is a little tainted. I don't love the winner. I didn't like him even before everything came out. Like, I don't know. I maybe, I don't know if I'm being hypocritical, but like I didn't like the way he talked about women. I just like it was like slimy. It was weird the way he talked about Erica. I don't know. It was just that aside, the gameplay was like immaculate. Like I just couldn't believe, like I said, I love a good villain who knows they're a villain. Nothing encapsulates this more than Dr. Will, like in the DR by himself. Like, come on, that's villain gameplay. And you know, him saying I hate you all and all that good stuff. And like even towards the end when Janelle and Erica were like, you know what, like we got to go against these boys, like that's an iconic moment. And Janelle cuts Will and he doesn't seem like he knows it's coming, and it's a really great moment. So I think that it's a great season. And for some reason I always I like make season 6 and 7 like a duo in my head. Not because necessarily they're right after each other, sort of, but I think it's just because there's so many season 6 people on it that I'm just like, okay, which one do I like better? I always prefer season 6. So that's kind of like why I rank them next to each other. Wait, did I? Yeah, I rank them next to each other, but I flip them.
Also, real quick, I forgot that Chicken George took slop for like the rest of the summer for that
Yeah.
Vito. Like he was just so like he did all this stuff for a Vito he didn't need. I'm like, not that George, but it's okay. Derek.
Also, sorry, another thing really quickly. Another thing too was like as soon as Chilltown walked into the doors, the very first thing that Mike Boogie says is, "Where are Kaser and James?" I don't know if you guys remember that. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
y'all are just trying to like do like a guy thing. I know which side I'm on personally, like who I like better. But like, see, man, it's the Boogie thing. Like if it was just Dr. Will and someone else, I'd be like, hell yeah, let's go. But I just never liked Boogie.
That's fair. Derek, how about you?
So for me, y'all, 7 is where I started. Is the first season that I watched live, televised. This teenage me just at home watching Big Brother. Not, nobody else knows what the hell's going on, but here I am at the living room watching Big Brother. So that's why it's so dear to me, and it was a good season as well. Obviously, I was a fan of Danielle because I've always loved representation. So going back then, seeing somebody that looked like me being on TV, huge fan of Danielle. Marcelo's, this is going to sound so bad to me, y'all, but like women, men. So I loved Danielle so much more than I love Marcelo. So that's just what it was. But season 7 was a good season. I loved season 7. It's too... because I feel like the number one just can't. I don't know. Number one just gave so much that number one gave what it needed to be given, and I think it's hard to top number one. So 2 is a good spot if you can't get to that number one spot. So I feel like Big Brother 7 was a good season. So I don't have anything bad to say about it, honestly.
All right.
And one more thing. Big Brother 22 was missing one thing. Every All-Stars needs a Chicken George. And we did not have that on Big Brother 22.
They wanted that to be David so bad. They should have made it LaJuan. LaJuan would have been an amazing Chicken George. I'm just saying.
LaJuan is so bad. We've been over this.
Or Jody. I would have loved to see Jody. You know what? I'm not going to get into that. So, I mean, it's obvious. 10 with 87 points is number one. Everybody but me put it at number one. I put it at number 2. So, but that doesn't take anything away from it. This is an amazing season. It's 1 point short from being like a perfect score. This cast, fire. Like Dan, even though whatever, but Memphis, you got Jesse, you got April, you got Libra, you got, oh my gosh, Rennie, you got Jerry. There's so many like
Keisha,
like this cast, in my opinion, is what Big Brother should be doing. Getting a lot of different people from different walks of life and like put them in there. Like you have this old like party woman from New Orleans with like this Catholic teacher. And then you bring like church boy Ollie in, and then you got old vet Jerry. It's just like a lot of these people don't have a lot to do with like people. They don't deal with people that are like the people they're in the house with on a regular day basis, and I think it brought a lot of interesting dynamics. And even the first boot, like Brian was so fun to watch. Like I thought Brian, I wish he came back for 11, but every single person in the season I loved. And you got even nomination roulette. I mean jury roulette. Veto roulette, whatever it was called.
The replacement nominee roulette.
Replacement nominee roulette. There you go. You know, you got to see Ollie having a meltdown when April got blindsided, and even Memphis. I mean, he was not a good player, but you know, he was fun. This womanizer thing with Jerry, and Keisha's birthday. Oh my goodness! But it was a fun season. Sarah, how do you feel about 10?
Just what a party from start to finish 10 was. Like it's just. I don't know. It's just such a joy. Like this is like a personal thing, but like every time I'm feeling a little panicky, you know, I just watched Keisha's birthday party on YouTube and it makes me feel better. You know, it's just like home to me. Like that. You're right. Like it is perfect. Big Brother 10 is beautiful. The whole cast. Rennie. I'm sure she's been asked. I don't know why she hasn't come back on because we need Rennie in our lives, but.
Real quick, Dylan, the guy our podcast is on here, Dylan Andrews. He during All Stars had a stream talking about the season with Rennie and Sheila from 9, and they both said that they weren't asked, but like they
She
spoke
wasn't
about,
asked?
no, she wasn't. So
That's crazy.
Is she too
Donnie
old?
wasn't asked either. There was a lot of people who weren't asked for the season. But
Donnie?
yeah,
Probably, I
yeah.
don't know. I just feel like with Rennie, her, like over the past couple of years, she has had like this problematic side come out. So maybe they've stayed away because of that.
Oh, I didn't know
Oh, I didn't
that.
know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Damn.
Well, yeah. How about you, Lavina?
Yeah, I just think that every single person on this cast is an all-star. Like, you can plop anybody from the cast. Like, maybe not Angie.
Not
maybe
Angie or the other dude. What's his name?
Steven?
Steven. Everyone else is fine enough.
But I'm slightly higher on Steven. But, like, for the potentially those two. But, like, every single other person's an all-star to me. Like, I could, like Sarah, like I watched the raw cut, like feeds cut version of well, technically I think it was like a version on Big Brother After Dark or something. I watched that for the first time because I wasn't on feeds back in Big Brother 10. I wasn't watching that one live, unfortunately. But I don't know. I can watch any conversation with like Libra and Keisha, and I will fangirl. Like when I saw Keisha, and what pisses me off is that I heard that Keisha and Memphis, I mean, before how we feel about Memphis now, but Keisha and Memphis were apparently like last minute replacements for Casey and Josh is what I heard. So that pisses me off. Like, why would you not prioritize? I understand like recency bias, but why would you not prioritize like amazing people from season 10? It should have been like an S6 kind of thing on season 7. It should have been S10 alliance on All Stars. I get recency, but like, you know, like was Libra asked? I feel like she should have been first priority. Like Libra, I need to see Libra. I would love to see April. I'd love to see Ollie. I would love to see. God, it was Jesse
Jerry.
and Jerry. Yeah, who was the
Jerry would break a hip. You can't have Jerry this.
Apparently he's doing well.
Yeah, he's actually really strong. Dan has been doing these things where he catches up with the cast on Instagram, like once every few years. And Jerry's like, I still want to play.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who was the Portuguese princess?
Oh my gosh, Michelle.
What's her first name? Michelle. Would
yeah.
love to see Michelle. Like
She said she wanted to play too.
God,
You
like
had to wear that red suit for the punishment.
That's how I see her. Like I don't see her in any other clothing in my brain. Like that's it. I just think that season was incredible, start to finish. Amazing winner, well-deserved winner. Like, damn, Memphis didn't get a single vote. Like,
wait, I'm dead.
That's crazy.
I graduated from Rice University with low honor.
Magna cum laude. Come on.
Oh man, Derek, how you feel about 10?
10 is superior. It is that girl. It is the one. She did everything she needed to do to secure her place in the legacy, the franchise that she did. So yeah, funny story. I think 14, 15 when this season aired, and I took a vacation in California this summer. I was visiting my grandpa, and of course, there's so many things to do in California. But Wednesday night and Thursday night, I need to be home, Papa, at 7 o'clock because Big Brother comes on. And not to mention, I had no idea about time differences then. So it was literally, they had already seen it here at home before I seen it, like in California, so it was like 2 hours behind. But such a huge fan. I was watching it on vacation. This was such a great season. The Keisha's birthday, iconic moment. Dan's replacement nominee roulette, iconic moment. The cast. This is what I was going to say about the cast, y'all. With this cast, and here's another reason why I feel like the season was so good, is because when you look at this cast, you see a lot of, I don't want to say older, but like more mature. Like people, they were like, even if they weren't, but I got like 30 and over vibe from this cast, you know, and the drama is like so much more pure. It's more real. It's more like fresh. And it's like, you're getting like a raw, like this is like strict. Because if you look at like older people like Jerry and Rennie, like, let's just go to Rennie. That's how most older women are. Like, they're like that. They're going to like, whatever comes off their tongue, it's what's going to be said. You know, they're stuck in their ways. You can't change them. They're going to change you. You can't change them. And I love that this cast, the game, everything about the season I thought was great. Production value, just like everything of it was incredible. Top tier season. It's where it deserves to be.
All right, and there you go. Go ahead, Sarah. You have anything else to say?
I was just thinking, like, just like old school Big Brother in general, I just feel like it was so much more unhinged and no filter. Like, I feel like they didn't care what each other thought of them or like what the audience thought. Like, they would just speak their mind. Like the amount of times that Rennie was like, "You're being stupid," you know.
That's inappropriate.
Yeah,
It's inappropriate, Dan.
Even if you just look at that, Keisha's birthday, just the way they talk, like, all that bitch, fuck you. Like, we don't get like I know that's not like the best thing, but it was just like that, the fight in that moment. It's just like, we don't have those. Like, can we have
Anybody want some cake?
You know, like iconic moments. Like, she just did all that fight, and now you ask if they want cake. It's like, I know it's sarcasm, but it's just like,
Oh my gosh! Even before they ruined it with Eric Stein, the America's Player was funny. Like Dan having to hug Jesse for like amount of time.
So good.
Oh my god! Like that was the America's Player doing right. Like, oh man, missed out.
Like, I think about how, we're saying, why don't they do this anymore? Like, I'm totally with that, but I think it's because Rennie wasn't trying to sell like tea on Instagram afterwards. That's why. I genuinely think that that's the reason. Social media freaking ruins everything. I swear to God.
Do you not want Angela's cookbook, Lavina?
And I get now because CBS is trying to.
Is it on sale?
CBS is trying to make their money too, and they can't give us a cast of like they could then like with season 10s, giving us the older cast, because I believe they're going to get more money off these people that they give the other networks like MTV for like the challenge and things like that. So you can't do that. I mean, you could, but the odds of it being like an over 30 person that the challenge award or something like that, they really don't have, that option there. So I feel like it's like you said, it's social media. It's just the new factors that, going to another show after Big Brother. And honestly, that kind of ruins it too, because we got people who just want to be on Big Brother just to get on another show. So it's just like.
And I have faith that it can exist because I just saw Big Brother Canada for the first time and it gave me a lot of like OG Big Brother vibes. So like it can happen. They just have to do it. But yeah, there you go. So for anyone, last recount, so 10 comes in 1, 7 and 2, 8 and 3, 14, 4, 17, 5, 3, 6, 27, 4, 8, 8, 9, 2, 10, 12, 11, 18, 12, 16, 13, 5, 14, 11, 15, 13, 16, 15, 17, 21, 18, 9, 19, 19, 20, 22, 21, and then 1, 22. I didn't want to say Big Brother every time, so you're going to have to put up with it. But there you go.
I was so lost throughout that, but it worked. I'm sure they all got it.
I'll put
I was like, is this a lost episode? Just list the numbers.
But thank you for everyone who's either watches live or who watches this at a later time. We really appreciate you guys hanging out. I want to do more streams like this. I'm planning on eventually doing winners, best to never win, twist, all that fun stuff. So we'll eventually get to it later. But until then, if you are watching this, please subscribe and follow to the Silent Podcast. Twitter is at silent_podcast, and also the ats to the YouTube and Twitch are on screen. And every little bit helps. So please support it, and thank you. Just want to start closing out. Derek, thank you for coming by. Where can people find you?
Oh, you can find me on Twitter right there at D. Oh, wait, where am I at? Over here. Right there, at D Wash Tweets, y'all. Yes. I'm also on Instagram. I am Derek Wash, but Twitter's my stumping grounds. That's where I hang out at a lot. So, yes, find me there.
All right. Lavina, thank you also for coming by. Where can people find you?
Thanks for having me. This is super fun. You can follow me at I'm doing the same thing. LPavs everywhere. LPavs with 2 S's. That's my social media everywhere. I tweet about sports a lot, so just mute me.
All right. If you guys like Sarah, I'm sure she'll be back for more Big Brother US stuff. But Sarah, where can people find you?
Yeah, same as everyone else. I practiced already. It's right here. My Twitter.
Right? Yeah. We're used to this by now. So. And lastly, you can follow me at 8 Ball Bangers down below, and you can follow my page as well as the other pages for updates on all of our other shows. We have a lot of new stuff coming up with like a Nickelodeon podcast, more total drama, and all this other stuff. So yeah, just keep a lookout. I know they were going live during this. I don't know if there still are, but the Drag Race Down Under review, they're, you know, you can join Nick and Elise and Kels and all of them. But until next time, we will see you and have a good one. Bye.